Chapter 325. Without Xiao Qin, although Xin Jingxian would be unhappy, she wouldn't be so unhappy. Anyway, there was not much difference between marrying Qin Jinping and marrying Xie Qin. It didn't matter if Xie Qin didn't despise her. At the very least, Xin Jingxian knew that there were many women from large clans who were indiscreet before marriage. After marriage, they married into clans of a lower class. There, not only were they not discriminated against or despised, but they also lived arrogantly every day. Xin Jingxian wasn't that kind of person, but she didn't worry about it. She was most worried about Xiao Qin now. Now Xin Jingxian was a little disappointed. Did Xiao Qin really like me? If he liked me, would he care about this? Even if he did care, he didn't even comfort me. It had been so long and he didn't show up. How could he really like me? Xin Jingxian sighed. Anyway, it was already like this. Xin Jingxian comforted her mother. Mom, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. It's fine to marry into the Xie family as long as they are good to the Xin family and my brother. Sister, you don't have to marry. I'm fine. At this time, Xin Jingmao couldn't help but push the door open and barge in. Sister, if you don't want to marry, then don't. Stay at home. I will support you in the future. I will use my own ability and strength to enter the upper management of the Xin family. Who said I don't want to? Xin Jingxian smiled. Silly brother, a woman will marry eventually. You don't have to worry about this. Xin Jingxian was very clear that the competition in this generation of the Xin family was too fierce. Originally, she was waiting for the day when Xiao Qin became powerful and asked Xiao Qin for help. But now Xiao Qin didn't care about her. She would help as much as she could. Jingmao, you go out first. Don't get involved in this. Xin Jinghao frowned. His son was too indecisive. If he was not decisive, how could he achieve great things? Xin Jingmao hesitated for a moment, but he still listened to his father and went out. His character was a little weak, and in fact this kind of character was not the best candidate for the position of patriarch. However, there was no problem with his ability and strength, so under Xin Jinghao's strong persuasion, he joined the competition for the position of young patriarch. Well, you pack up. The Xie family will come to propose marriage in a moment. Let's discuss this matter. Xin Jinghao said. Yes, father. Xin Jingmao nodded. In the Xie family, Emperor Xie told his father and second uncle about Xie Chen's intention. Xie Chaonan had no opinion. Although Xie Xianbai felt that it was not good for his son to marry a second-hand woman, Qin Jinping was already dead. Moreover, Xie Qin liked her and the Xin family was powerful. Naturally, he had nothing to say. Especially if Xin Jingxian got together with Xie Qin would undoubtedly enter the core of the Xie family's next generation. Even if it was not a patriarch like Emperor Xie, at least it would be the same status as him. He would naturally agree with it. However, at present, Xin Jinghao did not agree immediately. I am afraid that he wants to see how much sincerity our Xie family can show. Emperor Xie analyzed. Yes, I feel that what Uncle Xin needs the most now are those medicinal herbs. If we can get those medicinal herbs, this matter will be easy to handle. Xie Qin knew his position. Although Xin Jingxian is no longer a virgin, to be honest, what is she in modern society? Especially since our Xie family is not an aristocratic family with ancient martial arts inheritance. We don't have those rules. If she can marry into the Xie family, it can be said that she is marrying into the Xie family. Xie Qin, you are now in charge of purchasing medicinal herbs. You should know that the medicinal herbs that Uncle Xin wants are rare and difficult to get. This is not something that can be done with money. Emperor Xie also knew that what Xie Qin said was right, but the key was that with the Xie family's ability, they could not get those medicinal herbs. This was beyond the Xie family's ability. Cousin, don't you know White Fox? Can he help to get some medicinal herbs? He is so powerful, he must have a wide network. If we can introduce him to Uncle Shen, it will be a great merit for us. Xie Qin suddenly said. I can consider this, but Hero White Fox might not help, right? Moreover, he is a psychic. It is a bit inappropriate to ask him to get medicinal herbs. Emperor Xie was a little hesitant. Although Xie Chen's suggestion was good, it was also a good thing for the Xie family. As long as this god was introduced to Xin Jinghao would definitely be grateful to the Xie family. We can try. If White Fox agrees, it will be better. If not, we can't do anything, right? Xie Qin said. He had not personally met White Fox, so he did not have much fear of him. In his eyes, White Fox was at most a slightly more powerful trial taker of the warrior guild. Okay, then I will ask. Emperor Xie nodded, took out his phone and dialed White Fox's number. Hello. Emperor Xie? Xiao Qin was making breakfast for the Missy. Now that it was done, he picked up the phone and the hands on the other side did not stop. The phone flew into the air and stopped beside Xiao Chen's ear. "It's me, White Fox. Are you busy?" Emperor Xia asked carefully. Xia Chen disapproved of his cousin's cautiousness. Some things were like this. Hearsay was not as shocking as seeing it with one's own eyes, so he felt that his cousin was making a big fuss. "I'm cooking. What's the matter?" Xiao Chen asked. Xiao Chen's words made Emperor Xia a little confused. He did not know how to answer. In his eyes, White Fox was so high and mighty, but he actually cooked personally? Such a master, wouldn't there be a lot of beautiful girls serving him? What about his sister? Why didn't she serve him? Or did White Fox like to cook by himself? Emperor Xia? What's the matter? Xiao Chen saw that the other party did not speak, so he asked again. His relationship with Emperor Xia was not bad, so Xiao Chen was not impatient. White Fox, it's like this. Right now, we need a lot of precious medicinal herbs. I don't know if you have any way to help us buy them? Of course, the price is not a problem. As long as we can buy it, we can pay a little price. Emperor Xia said. Oh. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He did not expect Emperor Xia to look for him for this matter. He suddenly did not know whether to laugh or cry. Isn't the Xia family the medicinal herb supplier of the warriors' market? They can't get it for me? They really think too highly of me. Once upon a time, Xiao Chen's Xiao family, in order to build a relationship with the Xia family, tried many ways but to no avail. In the eyes of the Xiao family, if they could use the Xia family to do business, the Xiao family would definitely make money. After all, the Xiao family's business was the weakest. Now the Xia family turned to him for help. For a time, Xiao Chen felt a lot of emotions. He did not expect that after he left the Xiao family, there would be such an earth-shattering change. Some of the people who were originally aloof and unreachable were bowing in front of him. That. White Fox, don't be angry. I'm just asking. If it doesn't work, then forget it. I won't cause you any trouble. Hearing Xiao Chen's "oh," Emperor Xia's heart suddenly tightened. Oh, you can think about it. Let's see what you need first. Xiao Chen said. Okay. Are you free in a while? I'll call you and you can talk about it in detail? Emperor Xia said quickly. Okay. Xiao Chen agreed. Okay, see you in a while. When Emperor Xia saw that Xiao Chen agreed, he was overjoyed. He hung up the phone and said to Xia Chen, I have already talked to White Fox. He agreed. He should be able to help us solve the medicinal herbs on it. That's great. This time, the Shen family will definitely agree to my request. Xia Chen was also very happy. At this time, he felt that this White Fox was really powerful. This kind of opportunity to make money, Xiao Chen naturally wouldn't let go of it. He hung up the phone and prepared breakfast. Missy and Yi Xiaoya had already woken up and came down to eat. These ingredients were bought by Yi Xiaoya, so she was naturally qualified to eat. Missy was washing her face and trying to wake up. Yi Xiaoya had already started eating at the table and she ate very quickly. Cheng Minjing inadvertently glanced at her and suddenly became anxious. Hey, are you a pig? Why are you eating so quickly? Don't finish it all. I still have to eat. First come, first served. Who told you to dawdle? Yi Xiaoya said as she finished a bowl of noodles and then filled another bowl. You. Cheng Minjing originally wanted to brush her teeth, but she suddenly threw away her teacup. She ran over and picked up a bowl of noodles. She sat opposite of Yi Xiaoya and stared at Yi Xiaoya. She didn't have the gentlemanly demeanor that she used to have when eating. She directly stuffed the noodles into her mouth. Soon she and Yi Xiaoya finished a bowl of noodles. Both of them stood up at the same time and scooped noodles into the pot. In the past, Missy ate a bowl of noodles in the morning, and Yi Xiaoya at most 2 bowls. But today Yi Xiaoya ate 3 bowls and Missy ate 2 bowls. Xiao Chen saw that there was only soup left in the pot, and he couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Anyway, he wouldn't starve to death. He had thought that this would be enough. He didn't expect the current situation. After the meal, Jean Bebe drove the nouveau riche car to pick up the young mistress to go to school. Her car had already been repaired, while Xiao Chen drove his Land Rover to school. Xiao Chen, how's your cultivation going? Have you started to produce weak demonic energy in your body? Yi Xiaoya stopped Xiao Chen and asked. Demonic energy? Not yet. Xiao Chen was telling the truth. There was no demonic energy in his body, only pneuma. Oh. Yi Xiaoya was a little disappointed. Forget it. Work hard. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded and drove away. He was a little confused. Why did Yi Xiaoya care so much about his cultivation? Xiao Chen didn't go to school directly. Instead, he went to Little Hong's pharmacy. Today was the day to buy medicine again. Usually Xiao Qin came to buy medicine at night. But he had something to do today, so he came in the morning. Chapter 326. You're here. Hongzhu yawned and opened the door. And where's old Lu? Xiao Qin was a little disappointed when he didn't see Lu Fangzhen. He thought that Lu Fangzhen would be here to swindle another medicinal herb. You want to be free again? No way this time. Hongzhu snorted. Old Lu went to the countryside to pick herbs. Why don't you wait a few days? Then we won't wait any longer. Xiao Qin handed a prescription that he had prepared to Hongzhu. It was a new prescription. Hongzhu glanced at the medicinal herbs on it and then indifferently said a number, 10 million. Xiao Qin was shocked. I say, Hongzhu, can you not cheat me? Who's cheating you? This is a favor price. Look at the medicinal herbs in your prescription. Danxiao grass and Jinlong ridge leaf, these two herbs are worth 4 million. There are others, take a look yourself. Hongzhu pointed at the prescription and said to Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin curled his lips. These herbs were indeed new, but he didn't know if they were that expensive. He felt that Hongzhu was a little unhappy today. Hey, what's wrong with you today? Nothing, I can't be in a bad mood. Hongzhu said. Why are you in a bad mood? Xiao Qin wanted to find the right medicine to ease Hongzhu's mood and then ask her to give him a cheaper price. What? Do you want me to take off my pants for you to see? Hongzhu glared at Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin was stunned. However, he immediately understood that Hongzhu was on her period. Do you want it or not? If not, I'll lie down for a while. Hongzhu said weakly. Yes. Xiao Qin had no choice but to throw out the bait. Do you want to make money? Yes, but you won't let me make money. Your price is the lowest. Otherwise old Lu will come back and talk endlessly. I really didn't cheat you. Hongzhu said. It's not that. I have a business deal. Someone wants some precious medicinal herbs. Can you get them? The price is negotiable. Xiao Qin said. Precious medicinal herbs. Hongzhu was just about to say that precious medicinal herbs were not so easy to obtain, but when he heard Xiao Qin say that the price was negotiable, he immediately became spirited. Really? The price is negotiable? Even double the market price? Even 3 times is fine. Xiao Qin nodded. Really? Fine, then hurry up and give me the list of herbs he wants, I'll get it for you. Hongzhu licked his lips, looking like a little greedy cat. Get it out for me? Xiao Qin felt a slight ripple in his heart as he looked at Hongzhu's appearance. He didn't know if Hongzhu was deliberately trying to seduce him or if it was unintentional. In truth, Hongzhu had really done it on purpose this time. She had tried to seduce Xiao Qin several times, but when she saw that he didn't take the bait, she stopped trying. Especially since she wasn't feeling too well today, how could she be in the mood to seduce him? What about my herbs? Xiao Qin said. Hongzhu waved his hand and said indifferently, I'll give it to you. It's just a small change. What about in the future? Xiao Qin asked. It depends on how big your list is. Hongzhu said and began to hop and skip to get the herbs for Xiao Qin. His stomach also didn't hurt anymore. Okay, then wait for my news. Xiao Qin nodded, hoping that Emperor Xie would buy more. I'll give it to you, but don't lie to me. Otherwise, I won't sell you any more herbs next time. Hongzhu warned. No way, we've already cooperated once. Am I that kind of person? Xiao Qin said. Okay, then I'll wait for your good news. Hongzhu nodded. After leaving Little Hong's pharmacy, Xiao Qin got on the car, but in his heart he was thinking, what kind of mysterious background does this small pharmacy have that it can actually get so many rare medicinal herbs? It's even more powerful than the Xie family? It seems that I'm really lucky to have encountered such a pharmacy at the beginning of cultivation. If I went to other pharmacies, I probably wouldn't be able to get all the herbs. I haven't even stepped into the first level of the refinement stage yet. Early in the morning, in order to express the sincerity of the Xie family, Emperor Xie brought Xie Chen to the Shen family's villa. Unexpectedly, he saw Shen Jingshuan's younger brother, Shen Jingmao, and Shen Jingshuan's mother. They didn't expect that they would also come. After Emperor Xie and Xie Chen politely greeted them one by one, Shen Jinghao came out and invited them to sit on the sofa. He said, "You 2 nephews came early, this is?" Shen Jinghao asked knowingly, but Emperor Xie didn't care. After all, when it came to marriage proposals, it was usually the man who made the first proposal. How could the woman take the initiative to propose? Therefore, Emperor Xie smiled slightly and said, "Uncle Shen, I came this time to bring good news. Our Xie family accidentally met an extraordinary person. This person is quite powerful. Today I came to introduce this person to Uncle Shen." "Oh, who is it?" Shen Jinghao was slightly surprised. Uncle Shen should be very clear about our Xie family's previous situation, right? We were constantly attacked by the Sun family, and we couldn't hold on any longer. Emperor Xie said. Yes, later several people from the Sun family died inexplicably, and then the Xie family turned defeat into victory, turning the situation around. I don't know why nephew Xie mentioned this matter. Xin Jinghao nodded, but he asked curiously, could it be because of the extraordinary person you mentioned? It's this person. Emperor Xie nodded and said, if it weren't for this person our Xie family would really be finished. But with him, our Xie family was able to turn the situation around. Emperor Xie didn't say too much detail. Of course, the details were up to Xin Jinghao's own speculation. What he said now was mainly to let Xin Jinghao know how powerful the White Fox hero was. So that's how it is. Xin Jinghao couldn't help but be amazed after listening. Emperor Xie didn't need to lie to him, so this person really made Xin Jinghao look forward to it. He has the ability to get the medicinal herbs on my list? Yes. Emperor Xie nodded. He said before that we can consider it. The White Fox hero generally doesn't lie. Whatever he said he will do it. That's great. Xin Jinghao was suddenly overjoyed. But, such a powerful person, will he help us? What price do we have to pay? Haha, Uncle Shen, since everyone is so familiar, I won't hide it from you. My sister, Xie Fei, is the woman of the White Fox hero. Emperor Xie said mysteriously and proudly. The purpose of saying this was to tell Xin Jinghao that the White Fox hero came because of the Xie family's face. Oh. Xin Jinghao nodded quickly, but then he suddenly remembered that Xie Fei seemed to be married. Wasn't he using the route of Xie Fei's husband to get in touch with Emperor Xie? Xie Imperial nephew, isn't your sister already married? Oh. You were talking about Wang Xiongzhuang, right? He doesn't dare to touch my sister. He also knows the White Fox hero and has received the White Fox hero's kindness. Although Emperor Xie didn't know what kind of kindness Wang Xiongzhuang had received, he knew from Xie Fei that Wang Xiongzhuang didn't dare to interfere with the White Fox hero's matters. Moreover, Wang Xiongzhuang was in awe of the White Fox hero. So that's how it is. Xin Jinghao came to a sudden realization and said, no wonder. Does that mean Hero White Fox has other women? That's for sure. Emperor Xie didn't care at all. Such a powerful person, I'm afraid he has many women, right? Uncle Shen, when you see the White Fox hero later, don't talk nonsense. He is an existence that can kill without leaving a trace. Oh? Really? Xin Jinghao was a little surprised. He was also a powerful martial artist. In Songning City, it could be said that he wasn't afraid of anyone, and he didn't need to be too respectful. However, listening to Emperor Xie, he felt a little obedient. After all, the Xin family was also a great existence. It was a provincial ancient martial arts family. In Songning City, it couldn't be said to be the leader, but it was still one of the best. Uncle Xin is also a smart person. Think about how the Sun family was finished. Emperor Xie said mysteriously, but he refused to say more. Xin Jinghao's heart trembled. The Sun family died on horseback. Xin Jinghao still knew about this news. At that time he was puzzled. One person dying on horseback was nothing. Two people could be said to be a coincidence, but was three still a coincidence? Who did the Sun family offend to be so miserable? Although it seemed to be an accident on the surface, Xin Jinghao guessed that they must have offended a ruthless person with such sharp means. Now it seemed that it was all because of the White Fox hero that Emperor Xie mentioned. Well, this time, thank you, nephew Emperor. You introduced an expert to our family. Xin Jinghao was now thinking that this person was really as powerful as Emperor Xie said. If he had a good relationship with him, it would definitely be a great help to him and Xin Jingmao. Such a powerful person could not only kill people invisibly, but also get some medicinal herbs that others couldn't get. What kind of background and strength did he have to be able to do so? Could it be that he was sent by those big sects? Well said, well said. Right, my younger brother, Xie Qin, fell in love with Uncle Shin's daughter, Xin Jingxian. This time, my other purpose of coming here is to act as a lobbyist. I want to see if I can persuade Uncle Shen to let your daughter marry into our Xie family. Emperor Xie said his purpose this time. The previous White Fox hero was a bait. He didn't believe that Xin Jinghao could refuse such a huge benefit in front of him. Sure enough, Xin Jinghao pretended to be a little surprised. He pondered for a moment and said, Nephew Xie Qin is a good person. In principle, I have no opinion because I am also very satisfied. However, after all, Qin Jinping just died, and Jingshuan's emotions are not very stable. Why don't you two get to know each other first? Yes. Xie Qin quickly agreed. It was unrealistic for Xin Jinghao to agree at once. After all, the benefits of the White Fox hero were still an empty promise. However, listening to Shin Jinghao's words, it could be considered as a promise. As long as the White Fox hero was willing, this matter would basically be settled. Okay, then this matter is settled. Jingshuan's mood is not very good. Let's forget about it today. She is upstairs and won't come. You can ask her to go for a walk another day, Shin Jinghao suggested. Chapter 327. Thank you, Uncle Shen. Xie Chen was overjoyed and nodded repeatedly. And nephew Xie Huang about the White Fox hero you mentioned. Shin Jinghao looked at Xie Huang. Uncle Shen, I'll call him now. You see, I was so focused on talking about Xie Chen that I almost forgot about the important matter. Xie Emperor quickly apologized, then took out his mobile phone and dialed the White Fox hero's number. Xie Huang. Xiao Chen picked up the phone. Is it about the medicinal herbs? Yes, White Fox hero. How is it? Is there a problem? Xie Huang asked. I thought about it. There's no problem. If the price is right, you can have any medicinal herbs you want. Xiao Chen was confident with Hongzhu's guarantee. Oh, that's great. Can you come now and we can talk about it in detail? Xie Huang asked happily. Sure, where? Xiao Chen asked. Qingshui Wharf Seascape Villa District. You can come to the gate. I'll go out and welcome you now, Xie Huang said. Okay. Xiao Chen replied. Isn't Qingshui Wharf Seascape Villa District where Goddess Shen lives? I wonder how Goddess Shen is. He wanted to call her, but he was afraid that Shin Jinghao would see it and bring trouble to Shin Jingxian. Xiao Chen could only hold back for the time being. Shin Jingxian should still be angry, right? After a few days when she calmed down, he would find a way to contact her. Anyway, Qin Jinping was dead and her engagement was over. Xiao Chen was not in a hurry. Xiao Chen drove to Qingshui Wharf Seascape Villa District. After Xie Huang hung up the phone, he said to Shin Jinghao, the White Fox hero has agreed to come. I'll go to the gate to welcome him now. Okay, then should I go too? Shin Jinghao asked. Uncle Shen, don't go first. After all, we don't know each other. It's a bit abrupt if you go. Wait until I bring him here and we get to know each other, Xie Huang said after some thought. All right. Shin Jinghao was quite thankful to the emperor. After all, he did not understand Hero White Fox's character and was afraid that he would say the wrong thing. Emperor Xie waited for more than 20 minutes before Xiao Chen arrived. He didn't drive the Land Rover because it was too conspicuous, especially when it appeared in Shin Jingshuan's villa area. So he parked nearby and walked directly with his mask on. Great Hero White Fox. When Emperor Xie saw Xiao Chen, he immediately got off the carriage to welcome him. Xiao Chen nodded and got into Xie Huang's car. Hero White Fox, thank you for giving me face this time. The Xie Emperor was very happy. It seemed that the relationship between the Xie family and the White Fox hero was quite good. The White Fox hero didn't refuse his request. It seemed that it was due to his little sister's efforts. Otherwise, the White Fox hero wouldn't have come here so easily. Oh, it's mutually beneficial. Xiao Chen said indifferently, what herbs do you need this time? This is the list. Can you take a look? The Xie Emperor handed the list that Shin Jinghao gave to the Xie family to Xiao Chen. After Xiao Chen took a look, he was a little surprised because some of the herbs on the list actually overlapped with the beginner herbs that he used for cultivation before. He also needed bitter fruit on this list. However, after looking at it, Xiao Chen was also relieved. These herbs shouldn't be a problem for Hongzhu. Even if he couldn't get all of them, he could get most of them. How is it? Hero White Fox, can you get the herbs? Asked the Xie Emperor. Most of them are fine. A few need to be confirmed, but it's not a big problem. Xiao Chen put down the list and nodded. Then I'll have to trouble Hero White Fox. While talking, the car had stopped at the door of the Shin family's villa. When Xiao Chen raised his head, he was stunned. Isn't this Goddess Shin's home? Why did the Xie Emperor bring me here? Previously, he had been looking at the list and didn't pay attention to the road, so he only found the problem after arriving. Hero White Fox, please, this is the place. The Xie Emperor got off the car and opened the door for Xiao Chen. He made a gesture to invite him in. This is the place? Xiao Chen pointed to the Shin family's villa in front of him and asked calmly. Yes, this is the place. This is a friend of our Xie family. He needs the herbs, said the Xie Emperor. The Shin family? Asked Hero White Fox. Oh. The Xie Emperor was stunned, but then he smiled and said, it seems that nothing can be hidden from Hero White Fox. Yes, this is indeed the Shin family. Hero White Fox, you and the Shin family? The Xie Emperor just thought that Hero White Fox was omnipotent and knew everything, but he was a little worried that Hero White Fox would have a grudge against the Shin family. That would be a little F asterisk ket up. Oh, of course, I know all the famous families in Songning City, Xiao Qin said indifferently. He didn't show that he had too much relationship with the Shen family. This made the Xie Emperor feel relieved. As long as Hero White Fox didn't have any relationship with the Shen family, then this matter should be able to be completed. Hero White Fox, please come in. The Xie Emperor quickly opened the door for Xiao Qin and let Xiao Qin in. Although Xiao Qin didn't show it on the surface, he was actually a little surprised. He was worried that he couldn't find any news about Goddess Shen. Now he had the opportunity to visit her. Although their identities were different, it didn't hinder his investigation. Hero White Fox, I've heard a lot about you. Shen Jinghao took the lead to greet him. He respectfully and enthusiastically shook hands with Xiao Qin. He had to do so. After all, he was asking for help. If Hero White Fox could really get all the medicinal herbs, it would prove that Hero White Fox's identity was definitely not ordinary. He must be a disciple of one of the big sections. Therefore, his identity as a collateral relative of the Shen family was nothing in front of the disciples of the big sections. And Xiao Qin nodded indifferently. In his heart he was extremely excited. Is this my father-in-law? Let me introduce myself. I'm Shen Jinghao from the Shen family. Welcome to my humble home, Hero White Fox. It's really an honor. Shen Jinghao introduced his identity. I know that your daughter, Shen Jingxian, is the goddess of the masses. Xiao Qin said. Ah. Shen Jinghao was stunned. He didn't understand why Hero White Fox would talk about his daughter. However, he still nodded and said, that's what the younger generation said. My daughter is just a common girl. She's not a goddess of the masses. Xiao Qin's words made Xie Huang and Xie Qin a little puzzled. They didn't know if it was a compliment or a dissatisfaction with the Shen family. Fortunately, after Xiao Qin finished speaking, he didn't say anything else. He directly sat on the main seat of the guest seat on the sofa, a proud aura emanating from him. Of course, Xiao Qin didn't deliberately show anything, but his coldness naturally made people feel that it was a kind of aura. Let's talk business. I don't like to talk nonsense. After Xiao Qin sat down, he said directly, I can have the medicinal herbs, but what's the price? I can have it? Shen Jinghao's breathing tightened. Although he heard Xie Huang exaggerate before, he didn't personally get the promise from Hero White Fox. He didn't think that those medicinal herbs could really be obtained. But now Hero White Fox personally promised. He calmed down and said, as long as I can get the medicinal herbs, Hero White Fox can name the price. Let me first ask how many medicinal herbs are currently available and see the price. Xiao Qin directly took out his mobile phone and dialed the number of the pharmacy. Hello. Little Hong's pharmacy. Hong Zhu's voice had a charm that moved people's hearts. Although it was a little lazy, that casual tone always made men crazy. However, Xiao Qin didn't have the mood to think about this. He said directly, it's me. I'll read the medicinal herbs to you. See if there are any, how much is it, and give me a price. Hong Zhu was surprised at first. After all, this voice was a little unfamiliar and she had never heard it before. But after listening to a few sentences, she knew who it was. It was undoubtedly Xiao Qin, but he might be using another identity to trade with others. Thus she said, okay, tell me. N. Orchid snake tail, nether spirit grass, dreamy creek bamboo bitter fruit. Xiao Qin read out the types of medicinal herbs to Hong Zhu. After a while, Hong Zhu said, some of them are in stock and the rest can be ordered. No problem. How many do you want? Some of them are in stock and the rest can be ordered. How many do you want? Xiao Qin directly raised his head to look at Shen Jinghao. Really? Then of course I want as many as you have. After listening to Xiao Qin's words, Shen Jinghao's heart almost exploded. He actually had all of them? He could even get engaged? And he was actually asking how many he wanted? What kind of amazing background and connections did he have to be able to obtain all of this? Even the president of the warrior guild did not have such ability, right? I want as many as you have, Xiao Qin said to Hong Zhu. Then he would have to go bankrupt. Even if he tore down his house, he wouldn't be able to store all of them. Hong Zhu curled her lips. Xiao Qin did not know whether to laugh or cry. However, perhaps Hong Zhu was right. Xiao Qin felt that this little Hong's medicine store was quite amazing. Thus he said, that's enough. What we have now, give me a price. Okay, I'll go check it out and then send a message to your number. Hong Zhu said. And then I'll wait for you. Xiao Qin hung up and said to Shen Jinghao, wait a moment, when do you want them? Of course, the sooner the better. Shen Jinghao was incomparably excited. Oh, then I'll sell you a portion first. Xiao Qin said. Okay. Xin Jinghao was trembling a little. Wasn't this too awesome? Even he himself could not believe it. Could great hero White Fox be lying to him? However, Xin Jinghao couldn't think of the reason why the White Fox hero would lie to him. There was no point in lying. If he couldn't produce the herbs, he wouldn't pay a single cent. Wouldn't the White Fox hero's efforts be in vain? Not to mention his reputation would be ruined. Not long after, Xiao Qin received a message on his cell phone. Although it was from an unknown number, Xiao Qin knew that it was Hong Zhu's private number. Chapter 328. The number and price of some of the medicinal herbs were listed in the message. Although it wasn't a lot, it was still a sky-high price. The price is here. Currently there are 2 Hualan snake tails 40 million, 3 Ling Ming grass 80 million, 5 Kuji fruits 200 million. Xiao Qin reported the price of several medicinal herbs. He directly multiplied the price given by Hong Zhu by 2. Even so, he still felt that it was cheap. After all, these things were all good things that had a price but no supply. In any case, the Xin family was rich. He couldn't lose Hong Zhu just because the other party was his father-in-law, right? As long as Hong Zhu made money, wouldn't the medicinal herbs he used in the future be given to him for free? However, Xiao Qin also realized how cheap and discounted the medicinal herbs that Hong Yan, Hong Zhu, Elder Qin, and Elder Lu sold to him. They sold them to Xin Jinghao at a sky-high price. So much. When Xiao Qin finished reading, Xin Jinghao's eyes widened in shock. You think it's too expensive? Xiao Qin asked. No, Hero White Fox, please don't misunderstand. Xin Jinghao was shocked and quickly said, I mean, you can actually get so many medicinal herbs. Just this alone is enough to shock me. Can I order others that you don't have? Yes. Xiao Qin shook his head inwardly. This was considered a lot? He had already eaten more than this. It seemed that his demand wasn't that big. However, the price was really not cheap. This price is already very favorable. Seeing that you are introduced by Emperor Xia, I have already given you a 50% discount. Yes, I know. Xin Jinghao quickly said, if I buy these in the Warriors Market Square, I can't buy them at all. I need points to exchange for them there. No matter how much I pay, they won't sell them to me. Moreover, even with points, many of them are priceless. The Xin family didn't lack money. Xin Jinghao didn't need to worry about the purchase of medicinal herbs. Therefore, even if Xiao Qin's price was higher, he could still easily accept it. After all, the second grandfather of Xin Jingxian was in seclusion. If he could make a breakthrough, then the status of the Xin family would become more and more stable. This amount of money was nothing. It's good that you know. Xiao Qin inwardly said. The Xin family was really rich. Fortunately, he had a good relationship with Hong Zhu. Otherwise, his cultivation materials would have already caused him to be in debt. Now, after listening to Xin Jinghao's words, Xiao Qin was filled with gratitude towards Hong Yan, Hong Zhu, Old Qin, and Old Lu. If it weren't for them on his path of cultivation, he wouldn't even be able to afford a single set of medicine if he relied solely on buying medicine from the martial artists' market. Then, when will it be delivered to me? Xin Jinghao was somewhat anxious as he looked at Xiao Qin and asked, You want them now? Okay, I'll get someone to deliver them. Xiao Qin said and sent a text message to Hong Zhu, asking her to find someone to deliver the medicinal herbs. He also told her the address. Okay. Hong Zhu trusted Xiao Qin and didn't mention the matter of money. Now, deliver them? Xin Jinghao couldn't stay calm. Could these medicinal herbs be in Songning City? Could they be delivered directly? But it was impossible. These medicinal herbs were only sold in Songning City's Warriors Market. He had never heard of any big families or sects in the city. What's wrong? You don't have money now? Xiao Qin asked curiously. No. Then please deliver them. Xin Jinghao felt that this White Fox hero was really a godly person. He couldn't help but envy the Xia family. A woman could have a good relationship with White Fox hero? However, if Qin Jinping hadn't done that to Xin Jingxian, she might have been able to follow White Fox hero, right? But now he might not be interested in a ruined flower. From Xin Jinghao's point of view, since Wang Xiongzhuang knew White Fox hero, then concubine Xia had probably always been White Fox hero's woman and had nothing to do with Wang Xiongzhuang. Her marriage with Wang Xiongzhuang was probably just a cover-up. It was a way for the Wang and Xia families to curry favor with White Fox or achieve some other goal. Of course, he didn't know the specifics. Because he felt that with White Fox hero's strength, there was no need for him to marry a ruined woman. There was a delivery person in the Warriors Market who was sent by Tai Mucheng with a phone call. Hong Zhu had already packed the package. He didn't know what it was, but it was delivered directly to the Xin family's villa. In just over 20 minutes, the package arrived. Shen Jinghao couldn't believe it. He even wondered if he was dreaming. With a heart full of excitement and anxiety, Shen Jinghao watched as Xiaoqin opened the package. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Inside the package were the medicinal herbs he wanted. Shen Jinghao had been collecting these medicinal herbs for a long time. He could distinguish the authenticity and quality at a glance. The medicinal herbs that White Fox Hero brought were all of the best quality. The quality of those obtained from Songning City's Warriors Market was a grade lower than these. These were definitely not the goods that could be obtained through ordinary channels. At this moment, Shen Jinghao was completely convinced. In his heart, White Fox Hero had suddenly become an existence that could surpass the entire Shen family. White Fox Hero, how do you think I should pay you? Shen Jinghao asked with a trembling voice. Although Shen Jinghao didn't say whether these medicinal herbs were real or fake, Xie Huang and Xie Chen could tell from his expression that these medicinal herbs were definitely real. Otherwise, Shen Jinghao wouldn't be in such a hurry to pay. Transfer the money to my Warriors Guild account, Songning White Fox, Xiaoqin said. Alright, these medicinal herbs are worth a total of 670 million yuan. I will transfer 700 million yuan to you directly, and the remaining 30 million will be my gift to you. Shen Jinghao said straightforwardly. He wasn't short of money. What he lacked was connections. 30 million yuan in exchange for a good impression from White Fox Hero was quite worth it. Oh. Xiaoqin responded faintly. He didn't show how happy he was about the 30 million yuan. However, the more he did so, the more Shen Jinghao felt that he was unfathomable. At this moment, Xie Huang also deeply admired White Fox Hero. Previously he only thought that White Fox Hero's strength was superb, but now it seemed that his connections were also quite impressive. As Shen Jinghao spoke, he used his mobile phone to transfer the money. Soon, Xiaoqin received a notification from the Warriors Guild app. His account had received 700 million yuan. Great hero White Fox, when do you think we can get the rest of the medicinal ingredients? Shen Jinghao asked carefully. Wait for a few days. I will contact you when it arrives, Xiaoqin said. Alright, this is my business card. Shen Jinghao handed his business card to Xiaoqin with both hands and said, when the goods arrive, you can call me and I will pick them up. Do you want me to give you the deposit first? There's no need. We will talk about it when the time comes. Xiaoqin casually took the name card, but he took it with both hands, which made Shen Jinghao a little surprised. It seemed that Hero White Fox was quite polite to him. At this moment, footsteps came from the stairs of the villa. They looked up and saw that it was Shen Jingxian accompanied by Shen Jingmao. However, she didn't go to the living room. She didn't even look at the people in the living room. Shen Jingxian walked in the direction of the villa's entrance. Xiaoqin's heart moved slightly. He subconsciously wanted to call out to her, but he still held back. At this moment he was White Fox. If he called out, everything would be exposed. Now, whether it was the Xie family or the Shen family, they respected him. Although his strength was one of the reasons, the most important thing was his illusory and mysterious background. It made people suspect him and show his respected status. If people knew that he was Xiaoqin now, perhaps after the mysterious veil was lifted, people would not respect him as they did now. Instead, they would do everything possible to kill him. Especially the enemy hidden behind the scenes. One had to know that Xiaoqin had never left Songning City since he was a child. It was impossible for him to be a demonic cultivator, let alone a superpower user. If he was, why would the Xiao family drive him out? This was not logical at all. It was even more impossible for him to condescend to be Cheng Menjing's male servant. If Xiaoqin was really so powerful, it was impossible for the Xiao family to drive Xiaoqin out even if they fought to the death. Of course, only Xiaoqin himself knew the logic behind this. After all, when Xiaoqin was driven out of the Xiao family, he did not have any strength. However, this kind of thing could not be explained. From an outsider's point of view, it was unreasonable for you to be chased out because you had the strength. If you were not the White Fox Hero but the trash Xiaoqin, then you would naturally lose the mystery and fear you had before. Therefore, Xiaoqin just glanced at Shen Jingxian and said, Mr. Shen, your daughter is really beautiful. Shen Jinghao was stunned again. This was the second time that White Fox Hero said his daughter was beautiful. This made him a little confused. What did this mean? However, on the surface he still nodded and said, Hee White Fox Hero, you flatter me. Xie Huang didn't think much of it. He thought that White Fox Hero was just being polite. He was concerned about Xie Chen, so he said to Xie Chen, you go and accompany Jingxian. She is in a bad mood. At this time you should go and comfort her. Only then will you have a chance. After that, Xie Huang looked at Shen Jinghao. Seeing that Xin Jinghao nodded without any objection, he was relieved. On the other side, Xiaochen was a little puzzled. He turned his head and looked at Xia Huang, then asked, "Why is he accompanying Xin Jingxian?" "White Fox Hero, it's like this. Our Xia family wants to marry the Xin family. My brother, Xia Qin, admires Uncle Xin's daughter." Xia Huang explained. "Marriage?" Xiaochen suddenly sneered and said, "Forget about this matter. Xin Jingxian is not suitable for him." When the Xia emperor heard Xiaochen's sudden words, he was stunned. He did not understand what was going on. Xia Chen's face also changed. He couldn't help but say, "Mr. White Fox, aren't you being too nosy? You were invited by my brother to help the Xin family buy medicinal herbs. Do you want to meddle in this private matter?" Xia Huang's heart skipped a beat. No matter what White Fox Hero's purpose was, Xia Chen shouldn't oppose it. White Fox Hero's words were not that easy to refute. Chapter 329. Oh. Xiaochen turned his head and looked at Xia Chen coldly. The teacup on the table flew into the air without warning and directly hit Xia Chen's head. Bang! Although Xia Chen was also a martial artist, he was only a stage 1 inner force martial artist. When he was caught off guard, his head was smashed until it bled. Of course, he did not have any experience. Xiaochen's attack was also very abrupt. Moreover, he did not expect the teacup to rise into the air by itself. This was not realistic at all. Therefore, Xia Chen was dumbfounded. He covered his forehead and was at a loss. He even forgot to shout. He stood there in a daze with a face full of disbelief. "White Fox Hero, please calm down." Xia Huang was so scared that he trembled. This was the first time he saw White Fox Hero's ability. He could actually make the teacup fly into the air and hit someone without warning. What a terrifying ability. If it was a teacup, it would be fine. If it was a dagger and directly stabbed into the heart, wouldn't he be dead? After he finished speaking, he turned his head and glared at Xia Chen. "Hurry up and apologize to White Fox Hero. If White Fox Hero says it's not suitable, then it's not suitable." Yes. Xia Chen was also frightened. He lowered his head. Although he didn't dare to say a word, his eyes flashed with a touch of resentment. However, no one noticed it. "White Fox Hero, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Xin Jingxian and I are not suitable." You're right. And? Xiaochen nodded lightly. "If you think that anyone can ask me to cooperate with them, then you're wrong. It's not a problem to pay for simple things. Like your family's matters, it's not something that can be settled with a little money. You also know who I'm looking for." Yes, White Fox Hero. You're looking for my sister." Xia Huang quickly said. "It's good that you know. Don't think too highly of yourself." Xiaochen glanced at Xia Huang and said coldly, "If there are any dissenting voices in your family, future cooperation will end here. It won't happen again." Xia Emperor quickly promised, "In the Xia family, my words can be represented." "All right." After speaking, Xiaochen looked at Xin Jinghao and said, "That's it for now. I'll contact you when the rest of the ingredients arrive." All right. Xin Jinghao was also scared out of his wits. He was born in a big family like the Xin family, so he had seen many things, but this was the first time he had seen someone who could directly attack people with an object out of thin air. This was really a paranormal, completely different from a martial artist. Xiaochen did not stay any longer. He stood up and prepared to leave. Emperor Xie hurriedly walked over and said, "White Fox, shall I send you out?" "No need. Let Mr. Xin send me." Xiaochen pointed at Xin Jinghao and said, "Okay, no problem." Xin Jinghao was overjoyed. Previously, Xia Chen's actions scared him out of his wits. He thought that he had angered White Fox. Could the cooperation continue in the future? But now it seemed that White Fox seemed to have a good impression of him, so Xin Jinghao immediately picked up the car key and said to Xia Huang and Xia Chen, "My two nephews, please wait for a moment. I will send White Fox off." "Okay, Uncle Xin." Although Xia Huang was a little disappointed, it seemed that this marriage was impossible. He now seemed to have a vague feeling that something was wrong. Previously, White Fox said twice that Xin Jinghao's daughter, which was Xin Jingxian, was beautiful. Could it be that White Fox had taken a fancy to Xin Jinghao's daughter? Now that he thought about it, it should be so. Otherwise, White Fox would not have suddenly become angry. Xiaochen took the lead and Xin Jinghao followed him out of the villa. When they left, Xia Chen raised his head unwillingly and looked at Xia Huang. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. "Brother, are we just going to let this matter go?" "Let it go?" Xia Huang sneered. His tone ignited some hope in Xia Chen, but the latter words made Xia Chen feel as if a bucket of cold water was poured on him. I don't know if White Fox can let it go. If he has a bad impression of the Xie family, our previous emotional investment will be completely gone. Could it be that you still don't want to let it go? How many lives do you have? Didn't you see White Fox's ability? If he wanted to kill you, he didn't even need to lift a finger. How did the Sun family die? It was all because of the wind. White Fox didn't even do anything to them and he killed them without leaving a trace. Yes. Xiachen lowered his head. His heart was full of humiliation and anger. No, I can't accept it. In his opinion, it was White Fox who snatched his woman, but he didn't think that White Fox had hinted a few times before, and he didn't take it seriously. Alright, Xiachen, you can choose not to cooperate with the Shen family, but you can't with White Fox. If it weren't for White Fox's protection, our Xie family wouldn't be so prosperous. At this moment, we would have been destroyed by the Sun family. Xie Huang saw it very clearly. Since White Fox has taken a fancy to Xinjingxian, you shouldn't have this idea. Not only will you harm yourself but you will also harm the Xie family. I understand. Xie Qin clenched his fists. White Fox, please. Xin Jinghao opened the door and let Xiao Qin get in. And where's your daughter? Xiao Qin asked. Xin Jinghao wasn't a fool. This was the third time White Fox asked about Xinjingxian. Previously he was angry because of Xinjingxian and Xie Chen's marriage. How could he not guess what was going on? She might be walking around in the yard? Xin Jinghao said, White Fox, why don't I take you to find her? All right. Xiao Qin nodded. Xin Jinghao started the car excitedly. At this moment, his heart was about to explode. He didn't expect that White Fox would take a fancy to Xinjingxian. Previously, he had thought about whether he could use marriage to gain the White Fox hero's friendship. However, his daughter was no longer a virgin. He estimated that White Fox would dislike it. As for the other women in the Shen family, marriage wouldn't bring any benefits to Xin Jinghao. Instead, it might hinder Xin Jingmao's ascension, so he didn't mention it. But now, Xin Jinghao was 80% sure that White Fox was interested in Xinjingxian. Although he didn't know if it was just for fun, or if it was a long-term relationship. Of course, Xin Jinghao didn't think that White Fox would accept Xinjingxian as a girlfriend or wife. In his opinion, it wasn't realistic. Why would he marry a second-hand good? But even so, Xin Jinghao felt that it was enough. If Xinjingxian really hooked up with White Fox, then Xin Jingmao would ascend to the throne without a doubt. With White Fox's strength and background, who would dare to say no to the Shen family? White Fox, how old are you this year? It's really admirable to have such great strength and background. Xin Jinghao said in an ingratiating manner, compared to you, I've lived for so many years in vain. 18. Xiao Qin said faintly, there's nothing to compare. Mr. Shen is a talented man, and he has a beautiful daughter. Haha. Xin Jinghao was finally sure that White Fox was 100% interested in Xinjingxian. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to talk about his daughter. But the more it was so, the happier he was. The previous sentence was actually to test White Fox's age. If he was in his 70s or 80s, although Xinjingxian could help the Shen family and Xin Jingmao by following him, it would be too much of a trap for Xinjingxian. Now he was finally relieved. At the same time, he secretly admired White Fox. He was only 18 years old, but he had such strength. Those outstanding young people were trash compared to him. Mr. Shen, do you plan to find another husband for Jingxian? Xiao Qin asked. No. Xin Jinghao said, originally I thought that Xie Qin of the Xie family was good, but now it seems that they are not suitable. Haha, I don't know if White Fox has a girlfriend? Although my daughter had a failed marriage, she's not bad looking. I have a fiancé, Xiao Qin said. Haha. It's normal for us martial artists to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. White Fox, don't tell me that concubine Sierra is your fiancé. The conversation between Xin Jinghao and Xiao Qin was different from his usual serious attitude. It was full of jokes. Of course not. Xiao Qin said. My fiancé is Cheng Menjing, but I can't tell you. That's right. My daughter's character is not bad. Moreover, that time with Qin Jinping was not voluntary. Xin Jinghao's heart was determined. He felt that White Fox and his daughter should be able to succeed. Oh, I know. Xiao Qin replied indifferently. By the way, White Fox, which sect are you a disciple of? You have such strength at such a young age. You must be a key disciple of a big sect, right? Xin Jinghao saw that White Fox was unwilling to express his stance on Xinjingxian, so he did not ask further. He then changed the topic and began to probe Xiao Qin's background. Do the Shen family know about you asking so many questions? Xiao Qin's voice was cold. Mr. Shen, it's not good for us to know too much, isn't it? Of course I understand. Shen Jinghao's heart skipped a beat. He felt the car he was driving suddenly stop. But he clearly did not step on the brake. Of course, Xiao Qin had only touched the car and infused some primordial qi into the brake system. The brake system automatically started. He wanted to scare Shen Jinghao, and he also saw Shen Jingshen in the pavilion not far from the road. Shen Jinghao might not have seen it, but Xiao Qin's divine sense was very strong. He was especially attentive to goddess Shen, who he yearned for day and night, so he stopped the car. I stopped. Shen Jingshen is over there. Xiao Qin pointed out the window and said calmly. Chapter 330. Shen Jinghao was really scared to death this time. Why is this white fox hero so scary? Directly controlling the cup was understandable. His special ability could do it, but could he stop the car without stepping on the brakes? He was a little overwhelmed. If this guy in front of him created a car accident to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. Now he finally understood why the Sun family died so frequently. Moreover, White Fox Hero also had the ability to let the Sun family die in other accidents, but he didn't do so. Letting you die on a horse was also a kind of provocation and warning to the Sun family. Okay. Shen Jinghao pulled out the car key and got out with Xiao Qin. They walked over to Shen Jingshen in the pavilion. Shen Jingshen sat quietly on the bench and looked at her brother, who was at a loss. She couldn't help but sigh. Her brother cared about her, how could she not know? But to let her brother be the heir, this was the ultimate goal of her branch. There was no turning back. His younger brother had already entered the competition for the position of the successor of the young patriarch. At that time, if he lost the competition and allowed a ruthless person to take the position, then Shen Jingmao's bloodline would very likely be eliminated from the Shen family. So even if Shen Jingshen wasn't willing, she had to marry Xie Chen. Of course, she had no other choice now. With Xiao Qin it was impossible. Shen Jingshen was a little sad. Before yesterday, the life she was looking forward to suddenly became bleak. Those days when she had an affair with Xiao Qin, although she was nervous and always worried that the matter would be exposed and discovered by the family, now it was impossible even if she wanted to find out. Does he really only like my appearance and cares if I'm a virgin or not? Can't he care about me a little? Shen Jingshen was very depressed and a little angry. She liked him for nothing. It turned out that he was this kind of person. Looking at the phone, there was no call from Xiao Qin. Shen Jingshuan's heart died. Jingxian. Shen Jinghao called out to his daughter, who was staring blankly at the sky. However, from his point of view, Shen Jingshen should be a good match for Swordsman White Fox. Swordsman White Fox was much stronger than Xie Chen. Shen Jingshen turned her head and looked at her father, who was walking over. Beside him, there was a person wearing a fox mask, which made her feel a little strange. Who was this person? But looking at his figure, there was a sense of familiarity. Where had I seen him before? Dad. Seeing that his sister was so unhappy, Shen Jingmao finally couldn't help but stand up. Dad, don't force my sister to marry that Xie Chen. My sister's happiness is more important than anything else. I'm not marrying Xie Chen anymore. Shen Jinghao smiled and said, I'll introduce you two to a young talent. This is a real young talent. I dare say that all the young people in Songning City added up can't even compare to one of Hero White Fox's fingers. Shen Jingshen and Shen Jingmao were slightly stunned. Their father rarely praised anyone. Even Qin Jingquan, Shen Jinghao had only said that he was the best of the young generation. This swordsman White Fox directly said that all the others combined can't compare to him? Hello, swordsman White Fox. Shen Jingmao greeted Xiao Qin politely. Although he didn't know who swordsman White Fox was and what he did, he had to be polite since his father said so. Oh, you don't have to be so polite. Just call me Big Brother White Fox from now on. Xiao Qin nodded to Shen Jingmao. However, Shen Jingmao didn't know how powerful swordsman White Fox was. He was a little puzzled. Why was this person trying to get close to him? However, his father was here, so he couldn't say much. He just nodded. Jingmao, why don't you greet Big Brother White Fox? Shen Jinghao grinned from ear to ear. This time he understood that swordsman White Fox had accepted his daughter. Otherwise he wouldn't let Shen Jingmao address him like this. This swordsman White Fox is very powerful. Not only is his strength superb, but you also know how precious the medicinal herbs that your second great-grandfather needs are, right? Swordsman White Fox helped to get them all by himself. Oh. Shen Jingmao was a little surprised this time. He naturally knew how difficult it was to get those medicinal herbs. If it weren't for those medicinal herbs, his sister wouldn't have been able to marry into the Chen family, and then into the Xie family. Even so, it was impossible to get all of them. It was already good enough to get 1 or 2 of them, and the quantity was only 1 or 2. Xin Jingxian was also a little surprised at this time. She didn't care much about this swordsman White Fox, but at this moment she couldn't help but look at him a few more times. Of course, it was just a few more glances. Jingmao, this time you have a high chance of getting promoted. Come, let's plan and see how we can make good use of this opportunity to increase your bargaining chips. If your second great-grandfather speaks up for you, then your chances will be much higher. Shen Jinghao waved to Shen Jingmao and then said to Shen Jingxian, Jingxian, swordsman White Fox is a good person. You should accompany him around. This is his first time coming to our house. Me? Shen Jingxian was stunned. Then she thought of something, but she felt that it was impossible. It was understandable that Xie Chen liked her and didn't care about whether she was a virgin or not, because the Xie family was weaker than the Shen family. However, swordsman White Fox was different. Swordsman White Fox was powerful, and he solved the medicinal herbs that the Shen family needed by himself. His status must be much higher than that of the Shen family. How could he still like her? Even if he wanted to play, he couldn't just pick a second-hand one, right? She couldn't make heads or tails of it. Well, Uncle Shen, then you go ahead with your work. I'll let Jingxian take me around, Xiaochen said. Okay, the environment of this villa area is very elegant, and there are many specialty restaurants nearby. It's almost noon. Jingxian, help me take care of swordsman White Fox. You guys can find a place to eat. Shen Jinghao was ecstatic. Swordsman White Fox actually called him uncle. Their relationship in the future, hee. Before, he was envious of the Xie family, but now he was almost the same as the Xie family. In the future, he wouldn't need anything from the Xie family. The Xie family also asked Swordsman White Fox for help. Wouldn't he directly ask for help in the future? Swordsman White Fox was also his son-in-law, right? His words should at least be more convincing, right? Shen Jinghao thought proudly. Shen Jingshuan's face was a little ugly. Originally, when her father said that he wouldn't let her marry the Xie family, she was relieved. But now, it seemed that her father had hooked up with an even more powerful person. Now, it was obvious that he wanted her to follow Swordsman White Fox. And this Swordsman White Fox should also like her. However, Shen Jingshuan's heart was already dead, just like everyone else. She simply nodded and said, Okay. Sister, you actually don't have to do this. If you don't like me, then forget it. I don't want to continue like this. Shen Jingmao suddenly spoke. He looked at Shen Jinghao and said, Dad, sister is not a commodity. You gave her to this person, to that person, to keep marrying her in exchange for my support. But now, what do you think? This is harming sister. She won't be happy for the rest of her life. How do you know that she won't be happy with me? Xiaochen glanced at Shen Jingmao coldly. Although he somewhat approved of his behavior, it seemed that he was not a bastard who only knew how to cheat his sister. But now Xiaochen was afraid that Shen Jingxian would really listen to him and not hang out with him. Wouldn't that be a wasted trip? Shen Jinghao saw the change in swordsman White Fox's expression and suddenly felt a little worried. He glared at Shen Jingmao and said angrily, Jingmao, don't be meddlesome. Be careful that trouble comes from the mouth. Previously, Xie Chen was beaten up without warning. Shen Jinghao still remembered it clearly. He was afraid that Shen Jingmao would say something that would make swordsman White Fox unhappy, causing him to secretly attack him. It was fine if he was smashed by a cup in the open, but he was afraid that he would secretly do something like that. That was really impossible to guard against. Therefore, Shen Jinghao was so angry that he quickly signaled to Shen Jingxian with his eyes. Shen Jingxian was stunned. She didn't expect her father to be so eager to push her to White Fox. Was White Fox really that powerful? Did he make her father anxious to this point? Seeing that Shen Jingxian didn't understand, Shen Jinghao angrily rebuked Shen Jingmao. Is swordsman White Fox someone you can disobey? Didn't you see the consequences of Xie Chen acting like a big shot in front of swordsman White Fox? The teacup on the table flew into the air and smashed his head until it bled. Swordsman White Fox didn't even move. If he wanted to kill you, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. Shen Jingshuan's heart trembled. She didn't expect swordsman White Fox to be so cruel and have such magical abilities. She was really afraid that swordsman White Fox would harm her brother, so she said, Let's go. I happen to have nothing to do, so I'll walk around nearby. Mr. Shen, don't worry. I usually don't attack my family, Xiaochen said lightly. Shen Jinghao couldn't help but smile helplessly. You don't attack your family? Then why did you attack Xie Chen? Could it be that Xie Chen's relationship was a little distant, and he was no longer considered family? Jingmao, why aren't you thanking swordsman White Fox for his magnanimity? He is a superpower user, so he won't bother with a small martial artist like you. Shen Jinghao kicked Shen Jingmao. Shen Jingmao heard his father say that the person in front of him was so scary, but he didn't think that he did anything wrong. If he was really wrong he could admit it, but he didn't do anything wrong. Forget it. Xiao Qin waved his hand. This was his brother-in-law, so he naturally wouldn't make things difficult for him. Besides, he was anxious to talk to Goddess Shen, so he directly said, Jingxian, let's walk. Oh. Shen Jingxian nodded expressionlessly. It was hard to tell whether she was sad or happy. But when she heard her father say that swordsman White Fox was a superpower user, her eyes flashed with a touch of surprise. Shen Jingxian walked forward in a daze. Her whole person was like a shell that had lost its soul, and she didn't take the initiative to talk to Xiao Qin. They were still in the range of Shen Jinghao's sight, so Xiao Qin didn't dare to speak casually. Moreover, he really didn't know how to open his mouth to speak. Jingxian, what kind of man do you like? Xiao Qin casually found a topic and asked. Chapter 331. Shen Jingxian didn't answer as if she didn't hear it. But after taking 2 steps she asked, You helped my family? Did you find all those rare medicinal herbs? That yeah. Xiao Qin nodded. Oh. Shen Jingxian thought, no wonder Dad is so respectful. It seems that this time he has decided to let me follow him. But Shen Jingxian still said, I'm not a virgin anymore. Are you sure that if I follow you, you will help my brother with all your might? I know. Of course you're not. If you still are, then there will be a problem. Xiao Qin said, As for help, I will definitely help if I can. What? Have you seen me before? Shen Jingxian had some doubts in her heart. Logically speaking, why would such a powerful person like me? If it was in the past, Shen Jingxian still had this confidence, but now she was a second-hand good. What did the White Fox hero like about me? I have seen you before. I have liked you for several years. Xiao Qin nodded. Shen Jingxian was speechless. She wondered if the person in front of her was really a master or a liar. However, looking at Dad's appearance, he shouldn't be a liar. However, she found it hard to understand. Such a master had liked her for several years and only appeared recently? What was he doing earlier? When they were almost at the entrance of the community, Shen Jinghao didn't follow them and couldn't notice them. Xiao Qin tentatively reached out his hand and wanted to hold Shen Jingshuan's hand. Shen Jingshuan's body stiffened and she subconsciously avoided it. But thinking about her current situation, she still explained, Can you give me a little time? I can't accept it now. Shen Jingxian wanted to wait for an answer. She wanted Xiao Qin to tell her personally that he didn't want her anymore. Only then would she give up and follow the family's arrangement. Otherwise, she would never be reconciled for the rest of her life. Although she felt that there was basically no hope for Xiao Qin to ignore her given the current situation, she still felt that there was no longer any hope. But in her heart, there was still a trace of hope. That was her first love and the only person she loved in this life, including in the future. She didn't want to give up, but she couldn't do anything about it. In reality, there were always so many unsatisfactory things. Once something happened, it would change and it would never return to the past. Xiao Qin looked at Shen Jingxian, but he wasn't angry. Instead, he felt a little better. It seemed that Shen Jingxian still had him in her heart and didn't follow the arrangements of the family. Just as he was about to say something, Xiao Qin suddenly found that Shen Jingxian was crying. Although she didn't make a sound, she was crying silently. Tears rolled down her haggard cheeks, but she didn't wipe them away. She just walked forward. Xiao Qin was shocked. He reached into his pocket, but there wasn't anything to wipe with. Fortunately, Xiao Qin's car wasn't far ahead. Xiao Qin quickly walked a few steps forward, opened the car door and took out a box of tissues. He took out a few pieces and handed them to Shen Jingxian. Who are you? When Shen Jingxian saw great hero White Fox taking a tissue from the Land Rover in front of her, she was shocked and subconsciously took 2 steps back. Isn't this Qin Jinpeng's car yesterday? Isn't Qin Jinpeng dead? However, when she saw the box of tissues in Xiao Qin's hands, her whole body trembled. She looked at White Fox in horror. What did you do to Xiao Qin? This box of tissues wasn't from Qin Jinpeng's car. It was from Xiao Qin's car. Shen Jingxian was also sure that the Land Rover in front of her wasn't Qin Jinpeng's car yesterday. It was Xiao Qin's car. She had an impression of this box of tissues. That day when she was kissing Xiao Qin in the car, she was so nervous that her palms were sweaty. So she took out 2 tissues to wipe her hands. At that time, it might have been because she was nervous, so it left a deep impression on her. And now she saw White Fox driving Xiao Qin's car. This person had smashed Xie Chen's car. So, did he think that there was something going on between her and Xiaoqin, so he killed Xiaoqin? Xiaoqin had some background, so he didn't dare to kill him directly. But Xiaoqin, Xin Jingxian was worried. In fact, she didn't consider that the white fox in front of her was Xiaoqin. This was because, in her mind, it was impossible. Her father was very respectful to White Fox. How could it be Xiaoqin? If it was Xiaoqin, why didn't he go to her house to propose marriage? Why did he wait until she was in trouble? Logically, it didn't make sense. Most importantly, Hero White Fox's voice was different from Xiaoqin's. What she didn't know was that the reason why Xiaoqin only came now was because he didn't know that Xin Jinghao was lacking medicinal herbs. If he knew, he would have come earlier. Who knew what Xin Jinghao wanted from his son-in-law? Let's talk in the car, Xiaoqin said. He didn't wait for Xin Jingxian to reply and pulled her into the Land Rover not far away. After getting in the car, Xin Jingxian was anxious. Tell me, what did you do to Xiaoqin? It seems that you care about Xiaoqin? Xiaoqin asked. Don't worry about it. Just tell me what happened to Xiaoqin. Xin Jingxian glared at White Fox. Xiaoqin looked at Xin Jingshuan's concerned expression and suddenly felt that he was wrong. Goddess Xin didn't really hate him yesterday. He couldn't hold it in anymore. He reached out and hugged Goddess Xin. Let go of me. Xin Jingxian was a little anxious. Why did White Fox force himself on her? You were looking for me just now, and now you want me to let go of you? Xiaoqin changed his voice this time. He changed back to his previous voice. Xin Jingshuan's body stiffened and she stopped struggling. However, a look of disbelief flashed in her eyes. Then Xin Jingxian began to struggle again. Let go of me. Did you kill Xiaoqin? Then imitate his voice to trick me? Don't think that I don't know that you are a superpower user. You can definitely imitate him. Xiaoqin was speechless. He reached out and took off his mask. Then he looked at Xin Jingxian and said, Goddess Xin, how can there be so many superpowers in this world? It's good enough to have me, you? Xin Jingxian looked at Xiaoqin in front of her in disbelief. Yesterday there was already a fake Xiaoqin. Today this person was also a superpower user. Maybe he could imitate Xiaoqin's appearance? She knew that Xiaoqin had imitated Chao Yuliang's appearance at Cheng Menjing's banquet. Seeing that Xin Jingxian still didn't believe him, Xiaoqin had no choice but to say, Goddess Xin, didn't I tell you before that I have an identity in the warrior guild? That identity helped the Xie family and killed the people from the Sun family. That identity of mine is the White Fox. If you don't believe me, you can go back and ask Uncle Xin. Really? Xin Jingxian was suddenly happy. Was the person in front of her really Xiaoqin? Was he here? Of course it's true. Oh, back on the deserted island you rode on my head. Nobody knows about that, right? Also, we were almost caught by Jean Bebe in the closet. Even if it's fake, it's impossible for them to know, right? Also, when I sent you back that day, we kissed for the first time in this car. Xiaoqin had to explain when he saw that Xin Jingxian still didn't believe his identity. Stop. I believe you are. Xin Jingxian felt a little embarrassed and stopped struggling. Her body went limp as she fell into Xiaoqin's embrace. She suddenly felt blissful. The happiness from before had returned. Life was no longer gloomy. At this moment she felt that even if she died, it would be worth it. I said it before. I'll walk into the Xin family above board. Although this method of entering is a little unique, it's still considered entering. Uncle Xin is quite satisfied with me. Xiaoqin said. More than satisfied. He is afraid of you. Why are you so fierce to him? Why did you scare my brother? Xin Jingxian glared at Xiaoqin. He scared me. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Why didn't I tell you earlier? If I said I was Xiaoqin, Uncle Xin probably wouldn't let you accompany me. He wouldn't be afraid of me? After hearing that, Xiaoqin couldn't help but smile bitterly. My previous identity as a useless playboy has been deeply rooted. You're right. Xin Jingxian nodded. However, she suddenly thought of something and felt sad again. Yesterday's matter, I didn't mean it. I guess Qin Jinping, that idiot, wanted to harm you. In the end, he was killed by someone first. After I went, under the effect of the incense, Xiaoqin said with some embarrassment. But anyway, Uncle Xin agreed, and then we have a relationship. No? You mean, the person yesterday was really you? Xin Jingxian stared at Xiaoqin with her eyes wide open. If it wasn't me, who was it? You didn't see it clearly at the time? Xiaoqin was also stunned. You scared me? Xin Jingxian suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. She was in Xiaoqin's arms and hit Xiaoqin. I thought it was Qin Jinping who pretended to be you. He died a long time ago. Xiao Chen was speechless. You didn't think that the person who did it with you was Qin Jinping, did you? That's right. You knew I was scared to death. Yesterday I even had the thought of dying. Why didn't you call and tell me? Xin Jingxian glared at Xiao Chen angrily. Yesterday you asked me to leave. I thought you were angry with me. Didn't I want to wait for your anger to subside? Besides, I was afraid that Uncle Shen would see me contacting you, said Xiao Chen. Afraid of him? I think he is afraid of you, right? Xin Jingxian rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen. Isn't that White Fox? On the surface I am still Xiao Chen, said Xiao Chen. Well, seeing that I was framed by Qin Jinping yesterday, I will forgive you first, said Xin Jingxian. However, yesterday was unconscious. Don't think that you can do whatever you want in the future just because you did it once. I haven't thought about it yet. You can't force it. Chapter 332. Sure. Xiao Chen agreed without even thinking about it. Although he felt a little regretful, he truly liked Xin Jingxian. Moreover, the relationship between the two of them had not reached that stage under normal circumstances. Then, when I go back, I'll tell my dad that I'm satisfied with the White Fox. Xin Jingxian was happy. The person yesterday wasn't Qin Jinping. Moreover, she could be with Xiao Chen openly now. She didn't have to worry about pressure from her family anymore. Let's not talk about it now. Xiao Chen shook his head. He had more to think about. In the past, you weren't satisfied with Qin Jinkuan, Qin Jinping, and Xie Chen. If you suddenly say that you're satisfied with me, Uncle Shen might be suspicious. After all, with your personality, it's impossible for you to fall in love with someone so easily. You're a goddess, so you should be more reserved. It's fine as long as you don't object. It's not right if things develop too quickly. That's true. Xin Jingxian nodded. Suddenly she said, It can't be that easy? Why do I feel like you're being sarcastic? I seem to have fallen in love with you all of a sudden. You only agreed after I chased you for a few years. Xiao Chen had to give Goddess Shen some face. Just now the White Fox said that it liked me for a few years. I'm confused. Xin Jingxian hit Xiao Chen. Hey, take me to eat something. I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything since you tortured me yesterday. Okay, but let's go somewhere a little further. Xiao Chen was also afraid that someone close to Xin Jinghao would see them. Oh, by the way, was yesterday your safe period? I took my medicine. Xin Jingxian glanced at Xiao Chen. If I knew it was you, I wouldn't have taken it. If I gave birth to you and told my dad that it was a White Fox, he might be even happier. Xiao Chen realized that Goddess Shen was suddenly in a good mood. It turned out that she was conflicted about who she was doing it with, not because she was angry at him. He had thought that Xin Jingxian was really angry. Of course, in fact, Xin Jingxian was angry, but what happened later caught her off guard. She felt that it was better to do it with Xiao Chen. Therefore, her anger towards Xiao Chen had turned into hope. Then, in the future, in front of outsiders? Xiao Chen asked hesitantly. Please, my current boyfriend is White Fox. White Fox is so powerful, can you beat him? How dare you be with me in public? He might kill you. Xin Jingxian snorted. All right. Xiao Chen actually wanted to say this, but it was also good to work underground. Otherwise it would be hard to explain to Missy. If he secretly slept with her best friend, she would be furious. Not far away, Xie Chen watched the Land Rover start up and leave. His eyes flashed with doubt. Wasn't this car driven by Qin Jinping yesterday? However, the car's door was broken, and it was currently parked in the parking lot. As for that car, it had a fake license plate. He heard that it was Xiao Chen's car, so the car in front of him was Xiao Chen's? Why was it driven by White Fox? What was going on in this? Xiao Chen's car was covered with a film, so he couldn't see the situation inside. However, Xie Chen was suspicious. He was sent by his brother. Why hadn't Xin Jinghao returned yet? Xin Jinghao said that he would send White Fox off, but he didn't come back for a long time. Xie Huang was a little anxious, so he sent Xie Chen to take a look. As a result, Xie Chen saw such a scene. Of course he didn't say much. He turned around and left, planning to find Xin Jinghao. At that moment, Xin Jinghao and Xin Jingmao were talking. Xin Jingmao seemed a little unhappy. His father had used his sister as a bargaining chip in exchange for White Fox's support for the Shen family. Previously, he wasn't particularly opposed to his sister's relationship with the Chen family. This was because the descendants of aristocratic families, including himself, had been engaged to a woman whom he had never met. However, from Xin Jingmao's point of view, if his fiancée was no longer a virgin, could he still treat her sincerely? Obviously, it was impossible. Aristocratic families valued these things very much. They all maintained the ancient customs. Women must follow the 3 obediences and 4 virtues. If they lost their chastity, it would be considered unchastity. Therefore, Shen Jingmao wanted to stop his father from giving his sister to the Xie family and then to White Fox. He didn't think that White Fox would really value his sister. Maybe he just saw that his sister was beautiful and wanted to play with her for a while. Dad, have you ever thought about what would happen if one day White Fox got bored and abandoned my sister? Shen Jingmao asked. I don't think so. Shen Jinghao felt a little uneasy after hearing Shen Jingmao's words. White Fox seems to like your sister very much. But my sister was previously taken by that B***-starred Chen Jinpeng? Shen Jingmao sighed. Then we can only take it one step at a time. For now, with White Fox's support, it will definitely be beneficial for you to rise to the top. The ability of White Fox that we have seen so far is just the tip of the iceberg, Shen Jinghao said. Shen Jingmao was a little silent. At that moment, Xiachen walked over. On the surface he was still very enthusiastic. Uncle Shen, so you are here. My brother asked me to tell you that if there's nothing else, we'll go back first. Nephew Xiachen, I'm really sorry. Shen Jingmao walked over and patted Xiachen's shoulder regretfully. Although we can't be father and son-in-law, we still have our friendship. You also know that I dare not go against White Fox's will. I understand. You have your own difficulties. Xiachen nodded. Then shall we go back first? Shen Jingmao looked at his father's expression and was a little unhappy. Dare not go against him? Don't mention how happy you are to see your sister and White Fox together. Let's have lunch here before leaving. Although we can't be relatives, we can still be partners. Shen Jinghao said. All right, then I'll listen to Uncle Shen. I'm also going back to the villa to find my brother. Xiachen said. I want a seafood fried noodles. Xiachen looked at the food on the menu and felt a little emotional. This was the fast food that he had eaten when he was chased out of the family and lost in the basketball match. However, he didn't even know what it was at that time. It seemed that Shen Jingshen was still better than him. At least she knew what it was. In the past, he cared too much about cultivation. Other than pretending, he spent the rest of his time on cultivation. Now, he didn't have much time to cultivate, but his strength increased instead. Right, Menjing said before that the night before you left No. 1 high school, you ate seafood fried noodles at the snack bar at the school gate. Shen Jingshen remembered the previous things. She suddenly realized that she didn't know why, but the things about Xiao Chen in her memory had become more profound. Did I care too much about him? And you actually know. Xiao Chen smiled and said, then when I lost the basketball match, did you laugh at me? Of course not. Shen Jingshen said, you didn't want to expose your strength at that time. Otherwise, you could use your special ability to control the basketball into the basket. This game is too unchallenging for you. Xiao Chen was a little dumbfounded. Shen Jingshen really thought that he was so powerful before, but he couldn't explain it. At that time your performance was too good. How could Menjing break off the engagement? I didn't have the chance to pursue you. Nonsense. You must like Cheng Menjing too. Shen Jingshen said, I can see it. Otherwise you are so powerful. Even if you are driven out of the family, you won't be willing to be a servant. Forget it. Xiao Chen found that when the girl was serious, it was useless to say anything. Hey, you and I, this is the first time, right? Shen Jingshen suddenly asked. And what's wrong? Asked Xiao Chen. Nothing. Shen Jingshen seemed very happy. Xiao Chen didn't have anything with other women before, which made her a little surprised. Actually, I am a very single-minded person. At that time I was thinking about you. At most, I took a photo of you secretly. Xiao Chen said. Are you serious? Not Cheng Menjing? If someone else said this to her, Shen Jingshen would be disgusted, but when Xiao Chen said it, she felt a little comfortable. She felt proud. No. Xiao Chen nodded. It wasn't something to be embarrassed about. How many adolescents hadn't done it before? Even if he wasn't a dick before, he wasn't much worse. Oh, although I think it's okay, I don't think you are single-minded. Tang Tang, Jean Bebe and Kerlin, what's the matter? Asked Shen Jingshen. Do you have any private photos or something? Send me some. You won't let me push you. What if I miss you when I go back tonight? Xiao Chen didn't answer but said so. I don't have it. Shen Jingshen glared at Xiao Chen. Even if I have it, I won't give it to you. What if you don't want me in the future and send those photos out? How is that possible? It's not like you don't know that I am very possessive. Although I didn't kill Chen Jinping, if he is still alive it will be soon, said Xiao Chen. You are a terrifying murderer. Don't kill people indiscriminately in the future. That's not good. Shin Jingxian said, my dad will definitely ask you to do something bad for him. You'd better not agree with him. Then can he give you to me? Xiaoqun was a little speechless. Besides, in the world of martial artists, it's hard to say what's right and wrong. Since you are in this world, you must be prepared to be killed. Otherwise, it's better to be an ordinary person. You're right. Shin Jingshuan's beef stir-fried noodles came first. She began to eat. Shin Jingshuan's table manners were very good. She was very elegant and beautiful. There was a very quiet feeling. At this time, Xiaoqun was just like the past. In the cafeteria, he secretly watched Shin Jingxian eat from a distance. Whenever that happened, Xiaoqun would think about when he could ask Shin Jingxian to eat face to face. Chapter 333. Why are you looking at me? Shin Jingxian was a little uncomfortable being stared at by Xiaoqun. She asked with a slightly red face. A feast for the eyes. Xiaoqun continued to look at her. Hurry up and eat. I will go back after eating. Otherwise, my dad will be suspicious. Shin Jingxian said. Although she also wanted to stay with Xiaoqun for a while, things had to be done slowly. According to normal logic, it was impossible for her to stay for a long time on the first day with Hero White Fox. Shin Jinghao would definitely feel that something was wrong. Okay. Xiaoqun's seafood fried noodles were also here, but the grade of this restaurant was obviously much higher than the small restaurant at the entrance of the school. This fried noodles not only had shrimp, squid, crab meat, fish tofu, but also a variety of vegetables. At first glance, it was appetizing. Xiaoqun added some yuan qi into it and it was even more delicious. However, he suddenly thought of Shin Jingxian. Is your beef fried noodles delicious? It's okay. What's wrong? Asked Shin Jingxian. If you let me eat it, it will be more delicious, said Xiaoqun. And? I don't believe it. Shin Jingxian knew that Xiaoqun could cook, but she couldn't say that the food he ate would be delicious. Is this guy trying to take advantage of me? If you don't believe me, try mine first. Xiaoqun pushed his seafood fried noodles to Shin Jingxian. Although Shin Jingxian was skeptical, she didn't refuse. After all, she and Xiaoqun were already like that. Eating a bowl of food was nothing. Besides, they had kissed before. Shin Jingxian tasted Xiaoqun's seafood fried noodles, and she was slightly surprised. This taste was simply too delicious. The noodles were chewy but not hard. The seafood inside seemed to have just been fished out of the sea. It was very delicious. Shin Jingxian had been to this restaurant before. Although she didn't have much of an impression of it, it was precisely because she didn't have any impression of it that this fast food had nothing special. Otherwise, if it was really so delicious, she would definitely remember it clearly. However, the taste of the beef stir-fried noodles from before could only be said to be okay. It wasn't that delicious. If this was made by a chef, the difference shouldn't be so huge. Was it really as Xiaoqun had said, that it tasted good after being eaten by him? Well, I didn't lie to you, did I? Xiaoqun looked at Shin Jingxian with a smile. Indeed, how did you do it? Did he use his special ability? Shin Jingxian was a little surprised that Xiaoqun was so powerful. It seemed that she was really lucky. If Cheng Minjing had made the first move, she wouldn't have been involved. How could she start to exclude her best friend, Minjing? Shin Jingxian, you have learned bad things recently. It's about time. Eat this again. Xiaoqun handed the beef stir-fried noodles that he had eaten a few bites to Shin Jingxian. Shin Jingxian took it and took a bite. The taste really changed. This made her a little puzzled. It tastes good after being stained by your saliva? Then, when we did that, why didn't I feel that it was delicious? Ahem. Xiaoqun was a little impressed by Shin Jingxuan's divergent thinking. He couldn't help but say, it's not the same as food. How about I try to feed you a drink with my mouth? It will definitely be different. Forget it. Although Shin Jingxian thought that this idea seemed good, she was a little reserved. After the meal, Xiaoqun sent Shin Jingxian back. He still parked the car in the parking lot near the community. Then he put on the Arctic Fox mask and walked into the community with Shin Jingxian. Just then, Xie Huang and Xie Qin drove out of the community and saw the two of them. Arctic Fox Hero, you are back. Do you need me to give you a ride back to the villa? Xie Huang stopped the car and asked. No need. You guys go first. Xiaoqun rejected Xie Huang's proposal. That's fine. Arctic Fox Hero, see you later. Xie Huang said respectfully. Xiaoqun nodded and Shin Jingxian, who was next to him, was expressionless. Xiaoqun realized that Goddess Shin had a talent for acting. When they returned to the Shin family, Mother Shin, Shin Jinghao, and Shin Jingmao learned some things about the White Fox Hero. Shen Jingmao did not dare to speak carelessly at this time. If he were to say anything, it would be bad for him. After all, the White Fox hero was not someone to be trifled with. It would only be a matter of seconds before the Shen family was destroyed and killed. Haha, Arctic Fox hero, you are back. How was it? Did you get along well with my daughter? This was the thing that worried Shen Jinghao the most. If Shen Jingxian didn't give him face and annoyed Arctic Fox, then it wouldn't be fun. After all, he didn't think that Arctic Fox was as patient as Qin Jinping and Xie Chen. If Shen Jingxian were to throw a tantrum, the White Fox would be angry and take it out on the Shen family. That would be a big deal. Not bad. I quite like Jingshuan's character. She is a very kind person. Xiao Qin said, I think Jingshuan's impression of me is quite good. I will often ask her out. I hope Uncle Shen won't stop me. How can that be? Shen Jinghao immediately shook his head and smiled. As long as Jingxian is satisfied, I won't participate. If there's nothing else, I will go back first. Xiao Qin said, I still have to settle the medicinal herbs. Of course, of course. Shen Jinghao quickly nodded and said, by the way, Arctic Fox hero, may I ask if you are really a superpower user? Or a martial or demonic cultivator? Of course, I just feel that we are so familiar with each other, so I am a little curious about your background. I am a superpower user and also a demonic cultivator. Xiao Qin said lightly, as for my sect and the source of my power, I can't tell you. There are some layers of rules that Uncle Shen should know. Also, Uncle Shen can just call me Arctic Fox from now on. Don't call me hero, that's what outsiders call me. Then I will call you Arctic Fox. Shen Jinghao nodded. Although the Shen family was an ancient martial arts family, it could not be considered a righteous or demonic sect. This was because the Shen family had all kinds of cultivation. This was a family that focused on developing themselves. They had always believed that as long as the family could develop, it didn't matter whether it was righteous or demonic. Therefore, this was also the reason why the competition for the young master of the Shen family was fierce and unscrupulous. However, Shen Jinghao felt that Arctic Fox must be a disciple of a big demonic sect because only those giant sects could have such an outstanding person. Moreover, it was also possible to gather so many precious medicinal herbs at once. If it was a small sect leader, it was impossible to take out so many medicinal herbs at once. They might be able to collect them, but to take out so many in such a short time was already a bit unbelievable. Okay, Uncle Shen, then I will leave first. If there is anything, just ask Jingxian to call me. Your matter is my matter. As long as I can do it, I will not hesitate. Xiao Qin said to make Shen Jinghao feel at ease. Good. Shen Jinghao was overjoyed. To be able to get such a guarantee from Arctic Fox, it was enough to see how much Shen Jingxian was favored. Perhaps even the Xie family did not have such a promise. Otherwise, the Xie family would not have asked so many times about the medicinal herbs. Xiao Qin left just like that, leaving Shen Jingxian sitting on the sofa hugging her legs. She felt sweet in her heart, but her appearance was still very cold. However, it was obvious that her complexion was much better than yesterday. After all, one's mood affected one's complexion. This thing couldn't be faked. However, Shen Jinghao also thought that it was because the matter had passed for a day. Shen Jingshuan's mood had gradually calmed down. In addition, Arctic Fox was really outstanding. Perhaps she was also very satisfied? Jingxian, how are you getting along with Arctic Fox? Shen Jinghao waited for Xiao Qin to leave and quickly asked. Although Xiao Qin's one-sided statement had already said that he and Shen Jingxian got along very well, was that just polite words? It's all right. He is better than Qin Jinping and Xie Chen. Shen Jingxian hesitated for a moment and nodded. I can see that he cares a lot about me, and this person is also very powerful. Really? Shen Jinghao was happy after hearing it. Jingxian, since you are satisfied with him, then try to get along with him. However, you also know your own situation. Don't pursue the title of girlfriend or wife. And? I know. It's a pity that I didn't know him before. If I could have known him earlier, then there wouldn't be so many problems. Shen Jingxian sighed, but her heart was very happy. Yes, it's all Dad's fault. Shen Jinghao also sighed. But fortunately, Arctic Fox didn't mind this matter. As long as you think he is good, you can try to get along with him. Anyway, after a long time you will have feelings for him. And I will try, Shen Jingxian said. For the Shen family, for my brother, I will have a good relationship with him. Sister. Shen Jingmao's nose was sour. He was a little touched. Do you really think he is good? Are you lying to us? Of course not. Shen Jingxian shook her head. Don't you think he is better than Qin Jinkuan, Qin Jinping and Xie Chen? That's for sure. Xin Jinghao nodded without hesitation. It seems that this time the Xie family came to the right place. They brought a good marriage for Jingxian. Dad, I am tired. I will go up and rest for a while. Xin Jingxian wanted to have a good sleep. She didn't sleep well last night. She was almost worried to death. Now that she didn't have to worry, she could also have a good sleep. Okay, you rest. Xin Jinghao nodded. Xin Jingxian went upstairs. She was too lazy to take a bath. If she knew that the person yesterday was Xiao Chen, she wouldn't have taken a bath yesterday. She was so tired, but she still took a long shower in the bathroom. She was so tired that she almost collapsed. She felt better after eating something, but she was seriously sleep-deprived. She lay down and fell asleep peacefully. Xiao Chen didn't go to school. Since he didn't go to school anymore, it didn't matter if he was a little late. He drove back to Little Hong's pharmacy. As soon as he entered the door, Hongzhu ran over. How was it? Did you sell it for so much money? No. Xiao Chen shook his head. He thought to himself, did Hongzhu's stomach not hurt anymore? Why did he run so fast? Chapter 334. I know. Hongzhu was a little disappointed. That's not too little, is it? That's not it, I just doubled your price, Xiao Chen said. Cough cough. Hongzhu was startled and her eyes widened. Really? Don't lie to me, doubled? Yes. Xiao Chen didn't hide this from Hongzhu. After all, he was already very grateful that Little Hong's pharmacy was willing to sell him medicinal ingredients at such a low price. Now that Little Hong's pharmacy was willing to provide him with medicinal ingredients for cultivation, he was already very grateful. He didn't want to waste Hongzhu's money. Little brother Xiao Chen, big sister loves you to death. Hongzhu hugged Xiao Chen and kissed him on the cheek. You are my little Hongzhu, no matter how much I love you, it will never be too much. Xiao Chen was stunned by Hongzhu's kiss. What are you doing? Nothing, I was just too excited and wanted to show you some friendliness. Hongzhu also realized that she had gone a little overboard, but when she thought about the money, she became extremely excited. Where's the money? Where's the money? It's in my Warriors Guild account. Should I transfer it to you? Xiao Chen knew that he probably couldn't hide the fact that he was White Fox from Hongzhu. In any case, he was already suspected because of the Xie family's matter, so it didn't matter if he admitted it. Okay, add me as a friend. Hongzhu took out her phone and opened the Warriors Guild app. My name is Hongzhu Incantation Yi Gu. What kind of name is this? It's so hard to pronounce. Xiao Chen searched and finally found such a person. However, when he saw the level, he was shocked. It was actually an SVIP user. Although Xiao Chen didn't understand where the super VIP level came from, he was clearly not a simple person. White Fox. Your name is the one that's hard to pronounce. Hongzhu listened to the request and the two became friends. Xiao Chen transferred 670 million to Hongzhu's account. Then Hongzhu instantly received a notification that the money had been transferred to her account. Her eyes almost turned green when she saw that. Wow, 670 million. You're really something. I find that working with you is too enjoyable. If there's something like this in the future, don't forget to look for me. All right. Xiao Chen nodded. Although Xin Jinghao had given him 700 million, the 30 million was Xin Jinghao's compensation for his hard work, so he naturally would not give it to Hongzhu. He was also a man of principle. That's right, Hongzhu, I'm wondering where you managed to obtain so many rare and precious herbs. As far as I know, even the martial artists market square doesn't have so many medicinal herbs, right? Hee, no comment. Hongzhu blinked her eyes. Why don't little brother Xiao Chen devote yourself to me and big sister will tell you? Then forget it, I already have a girlfriend. If Xiao Chen wanted to take Hongzhu back, he would definitely not be able to bear it. What should he do if this little girl seduced him all day long? Then I can't tell you. Hongzhu said, however, in the future I'll buy all of your medicinal ingredients. Don't be too expensive as long as I can afford it. Then thank you very much. This was exactly what Xiao Chen wanted. Otherwise he would only give Hongzhu half of the money, and the rest of the money could be used for a long time. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. All right, Hongzhu waved his hand. I originally thought that you would be able to chat with me. Your compensation for chatting with me is too low. If I want to make money, I'll deduct half of the previous amount from you, Xiao Chen said. I know you're a good person. Good person will be good friends in the future, so why are we still talking about money? How hurtful. Hongzhu said with a smile. You said it yourself. When the time comes, just don't ask me for money. I have to go to school now, see you later, Xiaoqin said as he walked out of the pharmacy. Hongzhu looked at his back and dialed Tai Muqing's number. Help me find out all the files on the White Fox in the Martial Artists Guild. At the same time, after Xiaoqin returned to the Xie family, he found a confidant and gave him a photo, saying, help me find out where this person came from and what he does. If possible, bring him to me. Yes, young Master Qin. The confidant took the photo, nodded, and left. Seeing that the confidant had left, Xiaoqin also left the company and went directly to the parking lot. He had called someone to tow the damaged Land Rover from yesterday, and it was currently in the parking lot. He planned to take a look and see how the car ended up in the hands of the White Fox swordsman. Xiaoqin was such a person. He was very meticulous but also a little evil. As long as it was unreasonable, he would carefully investigate anything that could be used to his advantage, to see if there was any unexpected use for it. It was also because of this that he could manage the Xie family's business so well that not even a drop of water could leak out. All these years, at least the Xie family had not encountered any problems when it came to purchasing medicinal herbs. He drove directly to the parking lot. As the owner of the Land Rover, Qin Jinping, was already dead, no one came to repair the car. Even the Qin family was not in the mood to take care of such a broken car. After completing the procedures, Xiaoqin came to the front of the damaged Land Rover. The car was still in the parking lot. So, whose Land Rover did the White Fox swordsman drive today belong to? Could it be Xiaoqin's? But what reason did the White Fox swordsman have to get a car from Xiaoqin? Thinking of this, Xiaoqin sat in the Land Rover in front of him and began to examine it carefully. Anyway, there was nothing much to do. Since he was here, he might as well see if there were any clues that he could use. After scanning around, Xiaoqin's eyes suddenly fell on the driving recorder on the rearview mirror of the car. Although this driving recorder was aimed at the outside, it could probably record some problems, right? The battery of the driving recorder had been drained. The battery on this thing would only work for a period of time after the car stopped. It was impossible for it to continue working from yesterday to today. However, although the Land Rover's door was damaged, the battery was still charged. He turned on the car's power system and opened the driving recorder. He found yesterday's records in it. Other than the recording of Qin Jinping driving to school in the morning, there was a video recording of Qin Jinping sending Xin Jingxian to Kai Road Street No. 18 villa. Unfortunately, there was only a picture in the recording. There was no sound, so he couldn't hear the conversation in the car. He could only see the picture in front of the car. After arriving at the villa, Xin Jingxian got out of the car. Qin Jinping drove away and came to the door of a pharmacy. After getting out of the car, he went to buy medicine. At this time, the driving recorder recorded Qin Jinping's figure. Because after he got out of the car, he had to get out of the driver's seat and walk around the front of the car to walk to the pharmacy by the roadside. After buying the medicine, Qin Jinping got in the car again and returned to Kai Road Street No. 18. He parked the car, but not long after, Xiaoqin felt the picture shake. Someone must have gotten into the car, causing the car to shake left and right. But unfortunately, this person didn't walk past the front of the car, so his appearance wasn't captured by the driving recorder. Then the picture shook again and the car stopped moving. After a while, the person in the car got out of the car, but his appearance wasn't captured. However, according to Xiaoqin's guess, Qin Jinping should have been killed. That's not right. Here comes the problem. Wasn't Xin Jingxian raped by Qin Jinping? But at this time, Qin Jinping was already dead. Although he didn't know who killed him, Qin Jinping didn't have the time to commit the crime at all. He sent Xin Jingxian and went to buy medicine. After he came back, he was killed. When did he rape Xin Jingxian? No, something is definitely wrong. There is a problem here. Xiaoqin continued to watch the video. Could it be that Qin Jinping didn't die and he came back to life a while later? But unfortunately, until later, when Xin Zhenghao rushed over with Xiaoqin and his brother Xia Huang, they appeared in front of the Land Rover. The driving recorder captured the scene, but they didn't see Qin Jinping get out of the car. At this moment, Xin Jingxian had already been raped by someone. Xiaoqin saw the blood on the sofa and some kind of liquid mixture that only men had. This can't be wrong. Then what is going on? Could it be that the person who killed Qin Jinping and then went to the house to have sex with Xin Jingxian? And this person also disguised as Xiaoqin? Could it be White Fox? Thinking about how the White Fox hero also drove an identical Land Rover, maybe it was the White Fox hero who pretended to be Xiaoqin and framed Qin Jinping. Yes. Xiaoqin had a flash of inspiration. He felt that he had caught the key point. Now this matter had formed a complete plot in his mind. It was very likely that White Fox had seen through Qin Jinping's plan in advance. Then he beat him at his own game and got an identical Land Rover. Then, after killing Qin Jinping, he disguised as Xiao Chen and went to find Xin Jingxian and raped her. Although his Land Rover might not be used after that, it was always good to be prepared. This unlucky Qin Jinping, not only was he killed, but he also became someone else's scapegoat. No wonder when Xin Jingxian saw White Fox's Land Rover, she was very surprised at first. Then she was pulled into the car by White Fox. It must be. Mother Faster, this White Fox is so scheming. It's like the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. The person who really played with Xin Jingxian was White Fox, and then he took Xin Jingxian. No wonder he kept mentioning about Xin Jingxian in the Xin family today. Xie Chen was puzzled. Why didn't you come to find me before? He must have developed feelings for me after having sex with her yesterday. That's why today's scene happened. Needless to say, Xie Chen's brain was quite good. He could deduce so many things from such a small detail. Although he went in the wrong direction, the result was right. Thinking of this, Xie Chen was angry. You're good, White Fox. I, Xie Chen, can't beat you now, and I don't dare to offend you. But if the Chen family knows that you killed Qin Jinping, I'm afraid you'll be finished without me doing anything. Chapter 335. The Qin family was not to be trifled with. Qin Huanling was the vice president of the warrior guild. Moreover, the Qin family had no descendants. How could Warlord Qin let it go? A cold smile flashed across Xie Chen's face. Then he took out the memory card from the car recorder and put it back in its original position. He was afraid that someone would notice something was wrong, so he pretended to be serious. After doing all this, Xie Chen left the parking lot and drove back to the Xie family's company. After returning to the company, the first thing he did was to send Xin Jinghao a photo of the White Fox pulling Xin Jingxian into the Land Rover, along with the previous video. He knew Xin Jinghao's email address, but he used an anonymous email address. In short, he would not be traced back to him. The purpose of this was to see if he could destroy the relationship between the White Fox and the Xin family. If the Xin family knew that Qin Jinping was killed by the White Fox, there was a 50% chance that they would draw a line with the White Fox, right? After all, if they did not draw a line once this matter was spread, it was very likely that the Xin family had found a new marriage partner, so they joined forces with the White Fox to kill Qin Jinping and frame Xiao Chen. When that happened, how could they explain it clearly? The Xin family would probably become enemies with the Qin family because of this. Although the Qin family was not as powerful as the Xin family, it was still a life-and-death feud. How could the Qin family just let it go? The Qin family was not the cowardly Sun family. The Sun family did not dare to do anything, but it did not mean that the Qin family would not dare. When that happened, whether the Qin family killed the White Fox or the Xin family and the White Fox broke off, it would all be beneficial to him. Xin Jingxian, I will definitely have you. Even if I can't have you, I will not let anyone else have you. Xie Chen was a selfish and possessive person. No one in the family knew that Xie Chen's ultimate goal was to become the head of the Xie family. However, he had never said it out loud, not even to his father. He had only been quietly looking for an opportunity. In the email to Xin Jinghao, the content said, "Why is White Fox driving Xiao Chen's car? Xin Jingxian was raped by Qin Jinping? There are many suspicious points." Then the email was signed, "A Conscientious Insider." After finishing all this, Xie Chen pressed the send button, and the email was successfully sent. Xin Jinghao was thinking about how he could cooperate with White Fox in the future and help Xin Jingmao obtain the position of young master. After all, with hero White Fox's participation, Xin Jingmao's advantage would be much more obvious. Xin Jinghao was also a cruel and merciless person. Even though he couldn't be cruel to his children, he didn't care about people from the same clan. This was because those people had treated Xin Jingmao very coldly. Before Xin Jingmao was designated as a competitor for the heir, he was excluded. The reason was because Xin Jingmao's mother didn't bring much help to the Xin family. So from that moment on, Xin Jinghao secretly vowed to push his son to that position. Otherwise, he would have no right to speak in the Xin family. If he failed, he could only separate from the family. In fact, such examples could be found everywhere. The Yu family of Songning, the Tang family of Songning, and so on were all separated from the main family. They failed to compete for the core of the family and left the main family to establish a new branch family. Although they were still connected to the main family, they only existed as a branch and would not participate in the affairs of the main family. Only in this way the main family wouldn't be ruthless. After many years, they could still ease the relationship and cooperate with each other. However, Xin Jinghao was not satisfied. If he was independent from the Shen family, he wouldn't even be as good as the ordinary families in Songning. If he wanted to become an ordinary family, he wouldn't know how long it would take for him to be independent. While he was pondering, his phone received an email. Shen Jinghao opened it and glanced at it. He was shocked. What does this mean? Who sent this? Looking at the photo in the email, Shen Jinghao thought for a moment and clicked on the attached video below. White Fox Hero was driving Xiao Chen's car, and Qin Jinping didn't succeed at all. Instead, he died in the car directly. This truth made Shen Jinghao unable to recover for a long time. What kind of inside story was hidden in this? What kind of unknown secrets were hidden? Could it be that the person who had sex with Shen Jingxian yesterday wasn't Qin Jinping, but the real Xiao Qin? Everyone's thinking was different. The first thing Shen Jinghao thought of was that since it wasn't Qin Jinping disguised as Xiao Qin and Shen Jingxian, then the person who had sex with Shen Jingxian was still Xiao Qin's appearance. If it wasn't the real Xiao Qin, then who could it be? After all, Shen Jinghao had suspected Xiao Qin before. Although he felt that it was impossible between him and his daughter, he found out that the person who drove Shen Jingxian back that night was indeed Xiao Qin. Moreover, when Shen Jingxian came out of the car, she looked like she was in love. Shen Jinghao became suspicious. Of course, his thoughts were different from Xie Chen. Xie Chen looked down on White Fox Hero, but Shen Jinghao didn't. He felt that White Fox Hero was very powerful. If White Fox Hero wanted Shen Jingxian, he could have just talked to him directly. This was an easy thing to do. There was no need to disguise as Xiao Qin to cause trouble, and there was no need to kill Qin Jinping just like that. Since he could kill someone without leaving a trace, why would he go through so much trouble? He could have just let him die naturally. However, the suspicious point was the cause of Qin Jinping's death. If Qin Jinping didn't do anything to Shen Jingxian, then the Shen family owed the Qin family a lot. Shen Jinghao fell into deep thought. However, this didn't have much to do with him. He was a little annoyed that Xiao Qin had taken advantage of him. In his opinion, if Shen Jingxian hadn't done it with Xiao Qin, then her value wouldn't be what it was now. Maybe White Fox Hero would let her be his official wife. Even if White Fox Hero had a wife, she could be his official concubine, right? But now she was just a lover who sneaked around. Thinking of this, Shen Jinghao went upstairs to find Shen Jingxian. He knocked on Shen Jingshuan's door. After a while, Shen Jingxian opened the door with sleepy eyes. She looked at her father with some doubts. Dad, what's the matter? Jingxian, look at this first. Then Shen Jinghao didn't say much. He directly handed his mobile phone to Shen Jingxian and let her see the content. Shen Jingxian took the mobile phone. After looking at the content, her face changed and became a little pale. Who was so wicked to secretly take this video? Then she clicked on the video. At first, Shen Jingxian didn't feel anything, but later she found the problem. In fact, it couldn't be considered a problem. She knew the truth, so she could only say that this video restored the truth. Jingxian, tell the truth. The person who touched you yesterday, was it Qin Jinping or Xiao Qin? Shen Jinghao looked at Shen Jingxian with a serious expression. Yesterday. Shen Jingxian lowered her head. I don't know. At that time they all looked the same. I was confused. How could I tell? Jingxian, look at Dad. Shen Jinghao said angrily, you have been a kind and honest girl since you were a child. You have never lied. Tell Dad what happened between you and Xiao Qin. What happened? Shen Jingxian pretended not to understand. Yes, she had never lied before, but she felt that she was a little degenerate now. She actually lied for Xiao Qin. Don't think that I don't know anything. Shen Jinghao said, the person yesterday was actually Xiao Qin, right? You weren't willing to marry Qin Jinping, so you beat him at his own game and gave yourself to Xiao Qin. Who would have thought that Qin Jinping died accidentally? Am I right? What are you talking about? Shen Jingxian was stunned. It seems to be different from what I thought. Father doesn't seem to know that Xiao Qin is the White Fox Hero? Before, after Cheng Minjing's birthday party, it was Xiao Qin who sent you back, right? Shen Jinghao continued to ask. At that time the car was parked at the door of our villa. You were in the car for so long before you got out. What did you do in the car with him? Shen Jingxian bit her lip. She was shocked. She didn't expect her father to even know about this. Why didn't he say it before? But at this time Shen Jingxian certainly couldn't admit it. I just sat for a little longer. Do you think I couldn't see your face when you got out of the car? Dad is an experienced person. Don't you understand? Shen Jinghao said, Jingxian, you have changed. You have become dishonest. Shen Jingxian knew that her father must be suspicious, but she hesitated and said, Dad, what do you want me to do when you look for me? She turned from passive to active. Anyway, her father already knew. So what? It was better to ask him what he wanted. Anyway, Shen Jingxian would never speak carelessly. She couldn't reveal the matter of the white fox. Jingxian. Shen Jinghao was also angry before, but now that he was asked by Shen Jingxian, he really didn't know what to do. What could he do? What happened had happened and it was already irreversible. He could only reprimand her with some anger. Do you know that if you didn't have this matter, how much would the white fox hero value you? In the future, even if you can't be his legal wife, you can still be his concubine, right? But now, you can only be his lover in secret. Do you know the difference between the two of you? This is not only for the Shen family but also for your own future happiness. Dad, I've grown up. I know what I'm doing. Shen Jingxian whispered. What do you know? So you admit it? I don't understand. What's so good about Xiaoqin? A loser who was kicked out of the family. The Cheng family didn't want him anymore. You went to pick him up. Aren't you ashamed? Shen Jinghao said angrily. Chapter 336. Then. What if there comes a day when Xiaoqin makes a comeback? For example, what if he has the same ability as White Fox? Shen Jingxian hesitated and asked. Him? The same as White Fox. It would be great if he could catch up to Qin Jinping. What kind of future can a cultivation wastrel have? Shen Jinghao said disdainfully, but then again, even if he has the same ability as White Fox, even if he is stronger than him, what's the use? He's just an abandoned son of the Xiao family. He has no connections or background. Even if he returns to the Xiao family, he'll only be the best of the younger generation. Even if he's a stage 7 or 8 inner force martial artist, he won't be of any help to the Shen family. Can he summon the wind and rain like Hero White Fox? Can he get as many precious medicinal herbs as he wants? This is because of his identity as a disciple of a big sect. Oh. Shen Jingxian sighed in her heart. Sure enough, Xiaoqin was right. He had his reasons for not exposing his identity. If he was exposed, her father would not respect him so much. Even if he had the ability to get the medicinal herbs, her father would only think that he was lucky and would not respect him so much. Do you like Xiaoqin? Shen Jinghao asked angrily. No. Shen Jingxian shook her head and said, I will be with White Fox. You don't have to worry about this. I won't have anything to do with Xiaoqin anymore. But you can't make things difficult for him. This matter must be kept a secret. Okay. As long as you can be with Hero White Fox wholeheartedly, I can pretend that I don't know about this. Shen Jinghao thought about it. Since it had already happened, there was no point in targeting Xiaoqin. He might as well ask for a promise from Shen Jingxian. Then I'll go back to sleep. Shen Jingxian said in her heart. Other than not revealing that White Fox is Xiaoqin, I will still be with Xiaoqin. On the surface, I just need to be careful. Alright, you rest. Shen Jinghao ignored the email. Anyway, this matter had nothing to do with the Shen family. It didn't matter whether Qin Jinping did anything to Shen Jingxian or not. It was impossible for the Shen family to unite with the Qin family through marriage. After Xie Qin sent the message, he waited to see what Shen Jinghao would do. He didn't send it directly to the Qin family. Things had to be done step by step, right? He enjoyed the feeling of strategizing behind the scenes. Every time it seemed that the storm was about to pass, he would continue to throw out heavy bombs, making the calm situation strange again. Of course, this was not enough. He needed to go to the hospital again to get a copy of Qin Jinping's autopsy report. He needed to see if Qin Jinping had sex before he died. Theoretically, Qin Jinping did not have time to shower, and he should not have used condoms. Otherwise, why would he buy birth control pills? As for Chao Yuliang, there was no need to mention how depressed he was. Xiaoqin didn't die, but Qin Jinping died first. I sent a message to Xiaoqin yesterday. Why didn't Xiaoqin show up? Could it be that Xiaoqin was suspicious? That's right. Qin Jinping, that idiot, parked his car in front of the villa and even died in the car. Xiaoqin saw it. He definitely wouldn't enter the villa again. Even if he didn't know that there was a dead person in the car, it would be strange if he didn't suspect it when he saw a car that was exactly the same as his parked there. Qin Jinping was dead. Chao Yuliang wasn't sad, but he was depressed that he couldn't complete the task that Qing Mingqiang gave him. In the future, there would be no one who could kill Xiaoqin with him. Without Qin Jinping the clown, in many cases Chao Yuliang was somewhat restrained. For example, when he invited Xiaoqin to race, Qin Jinping could use the name of his underling to flatter Xiaoqin, but could Chao Yuliang do it? Even if he humbled himself, Xiaoqin might not believe it, right? Thinking of this, Chao Yuliang had a headache. Without Qin Jinping's help, it was getting more and more difficult to deal with Xiao Qin. How could he kill Xiao Qin? Now he was like a headless fly. He had no clue at all. In desperation he could only call Cheng Mingqiang's phone. Young Master Cheng Qin Jinping is dead. The plan has been put on hold. Next I want to kill Xiao Qin. It's a little difficult. I hope you can understand. Chao Yuliang said stubbornly. Don't you have any ability? Without Qin Jinping you can't kill Xiao Qin by yourself? If you have a way you want to do it but you can't. Cheng Mingqiang hung up the phone, making Chao Yuliang shiver. Indeed what Cheng Mingqiang said was right. Was he, Chao Yuliang, so incompetent? Did he need Qin Jinping's help to do things? Couldn't he find a chance to kill Xiao Qin by himself? However, there really wasn't a good way. Chao Yuliang couldn't assassinate Xiao Qin by himself, right? That wasn't realistic and it was easy to be exposed. After thinking about it, he decided to call Li Shaning to see if he had any good ideas. Young Master Li, I'm Chao Yuliang. How have you been? Aren't you coming to Songning City? Are you here? Let me entertain you. Chao Yuliang said enthusiastically. Oh, young Master Chao. I haven't gone yet. I plan to go tomorrow. Li Shaning said, if you didn't call me I was going to call you. I heard that Qin Jinping is dead? What happened? AI, don't mention it. I don't know what happened. I don't even know who killed him. I'm completely confused. Chao Yuliang said, with his death I lost a right-hand man. I want to kill Xiao Qin but I don't have a good idea. By the way, young Master Li, do you still want to deal with Xiao Qin? Yes. It's just that my grandfather was angry last time. I lost so much ancient jade. He asked me to plan before I act. This time I can't be impulsive. Li Shaning said, let's meet and talk about it in detail. Let's see if there is a good way. Okay, then you must call me when you come. I will pick you up. Chao Yuliang said. No problem. Li Shaning also wanted to retaliate against Xiao Qin. It just so happened that Chao Yuliang contacted him. Before, he inexplicably killed Qin Jinping, which really scared him for a while. But after a day there was no bad news about him, which also made him relieved. It seemed that no one had found out. Xiao Qin drove to the school. At this moment it was already afternoon class. He quickly walked into the classroom. Song Huawu glanced at him and asked, what did you do in the morning? I was looking for you. You were looking for me? What for? Xiao Qin asked. Tomorrow night is the opening day of the Songning Summit between the righteous and demonic sects. People from both the righteous and demonic sects will come here to register for the event. Song Huawu was puzzled when she saw Xiao Qin's shocked expression. Didn't Yi Xiaoya tell you? No. Xiao Qin took out his mobile phone and glanced at it. He didn't find any messages from Yi Biya. This little girl probably thought that he knew about it through other channels. After all, in her eyes he was also a member of the demon sect. As long as she informed him to accompany her to attend the summit, he would definitely pay attention to this news. Song Huawu was a little speechless. I'll be there tomorrow too. As the referee of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, I have to guarantee and warn these people that it will start from the summit and end after the summit. If there's any hatred during the summit, it will end after the summit. Can people die at the summit? Xiao Qin asked. Then I can't do anything about it. If they die, so be it. Anyway, at the level of warriors there will be casualties. As long as it's within a controllable range and no large-scale conflicts break out, it's fine. Their internal conflicts will be resolved at the next summit, Song Huawu said. Then don't get to know me tomorrow, Xiao Qin said. Don't worry, I can't say that I know you. Song Huawu said, if it weren't for you I wouldn't have paid attention to them directly. I would have directly intervened and become the referee. Song Huawu was very satisfied with Xiao Qin's undercover work. Keep up the good work in the future. Well, then are you biased towards the righteous sect or the demon sect? Xiao Qin asked. It doesn't matter whether I am biased or not. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau is the same as the Warrior Guild. It is a neutral organization. Of course, the Warrior Guild is gradually deteriorating now. The upper echelons are occupied by the righteous sects, so... Song Huawu suddenly stopped and just said, let's talk about these things later. Oh. Xiao Qin didn't care. After all, this had nothing to do with him. He didn't have the concept of righteous sect or demon sect. Whoever provoked him would be punished, no matter where they came from. Well, you be careful. Don't be tricked by Yi Xiaoya. Song Huawu reminded him, be careful not to be used as cannon fodder. This time there are many experts from the righteous sect. Even the demon sect is divided into many sects and families. They are not monolithic. Make your move after everything is done. Don't get involved randomly. It's not good for you. Understood. Thank you for the reminder. Xiao Qin nodded. He knew that Song Huawu said it for his own good. But to be honest, with Xiao Qin's current strength of the Qi refinement stage level 6, he was a little proud. What did you do in the morning? I've been looking for you all morning. Not long after Xiao Qin sat down, he received a message from the Missy on his phone. I went to buy medicine but my car broke down. I went to repair it. What's wrong? Xiao Qin quickly replied with a message. He felt a little guilty. My dad is treating me to dinner tonight. You should go too. Qing Minjing replied. In fact, it was Qing Zhongming who called Qing Minjing and asked him to invite Xiao Qin to dinner tonight. Okay. Xiao Qin agreed without thinking. He had a good impression of Qing Zhongming. If Qing Zhongming didn't let him live in the Missy's villa, he would have been living on the streets. Even though the Elder Heaven ancestor was there, it was the most difficult period of Xiao Qin's life. A drop of kindness should be returned with a spring. Okay. Don't forget that I asked Jean Bebe to leave first. Don't make me wait like an idiot. Qing Minjing said. Of course not. I'll wait for you in the parking lot. Xiao Qin said. Chapter 337. In the afternoon, Lu Jinming came to look for Xiao Qin. Ma Gangmin finally came out of the hospital. His injury was quite serious. Without the help of a pharmacist, he had been in the hospital for more than a month. Xiao Qin, you said that after the birthday party, there was no progress between me and Qing Minjing. Can you help me to ask Qing Minjing out so that we can go out and play this weekend? Lu Jinming came over and asked. It's the weekend. I don't have time. You can make an appointment yourself. Xiao Qin waved his hand and said. Don't. Qing Minjing said that if you don't go, she won't go either. Lu Jinming said, Xiao Qin, can you help me? I will help you find the ancient jade. Well, that's fine. I will try. Xiao Qin didn't know if the summit would start immediately after the registration, but it finally started. The summit was also held at night. There should be time during the day. If Lu Jinming could really provide the ancient jade, then he could pay attention to him. Qin Jinping was killed by some nosy guy. Xiao Qin still wanted to keep him. This idiot always gave him good things. It would be a pity if he died like this. Xiao Qin didn't know if Chao Yuliang would succeed him. Okay, I will wait for your good news. Lu Jinming said quickly. Today is Thursday. The day after tomorrow or the day after tomorrow is fine. And I will ask when the time comes. Xiao Qin said. He suddenly felt a little embarrassed. It seemed that he was using Miss in exchange for benefits. Although Miss was not his fiancée, Xiao Qin's guilt was heavier. When they were engaged, Xiao Qin didn't treat her well. He pursued her best friend, Shen Jingxian, in front of her. Now he broke off the engagement with her and even secretly slept with Shen Jingxian. Now he was using her to exchange for benefits. Did Miss owe him? I will go back to look for ancient jade. Lu Jinming rubbed his hands and said flatteringly. When he returned to his seat, Ma Gangmen suddenly felt a little unhappy. Brother Ming, did you compromise with that kid? Compromise my ass. I just used him to get close to Qing Minjing. Lu Jinming didn't have time to tell Ma Gangmen what had happened recently. He took this opportunity to tell Ma Gangmen about Xiao Qin's identity and that he was Qing Minjing's follower. It turns that Brother Ming is using this kid. But he really got lucky. Not only did he not get beaten up, but he also got so many benefits. Ma Gangmen suddenly realized. Not only did he not get beaten up, but he also got so many benefits. Ma Gangmen suddenly realized. Although he has nothing to do with Qing Minjing, I feel disgusted when I think that this bastard is Qing Minjing's ex-fiancé. If I don't kill him, I won't feel at ease. Haha, Brother Ming is really an ambitious and ruthless person. His forbearance and acting skills are really amazing. Ma Gangmen breathed a sigh of relief. If Lu Jinming really went to Xiao Qin's side, then he would be depressed to death. Staying in the hospital for a month would be in vain. And Gangmen, don't worry. You won't be beaten for nothing. It won't be long before I hook up with Qing Minjing. I will kill Xiao Qin, Lu Jinming said. Brother Ming, do you think that Xiao Qin is playing with you? Every time he will cheat you of some good stuff, but you and Qing Minjing have no progress at all. Are you giving him all the good stuff? Skinny Monkey felt that something was wrong. Although it seemed that Xiao Qin was helping Lu Jinming, it was just pure help. There was no substantial progress. Thinking of this, Lu Jinming also frowned. Although he was a bit of a tiger, he wasn't completely brainless. Previously, he was hot-blooded and felt that Xiao Qin could help him, so he lowered his stance and pretended to be Xiao Qin's lackey. Now that he thought about it carefully, the things that Xiaoqin could help him with were very limited. What exactly did Xiaoqin mean? Was he really going to help or was he pretending to help? Let me see this trip. If this kid is playing with me, I will King kill him. Lu Junming nodded and a cold light flashed in his eyes. That's right, Brother Ming. Back when we were in second high school we had the final say. Now that Xiaoqin is here, we've almost become his lackey. This won't do. Skinny Monkey also nodded in agreement. Recently it was obvious that their words in the second high school were a bit less effective. This trend couldn't be allowed. Okay, I got it. Let's see if this kid is willing to follow the rules. If not, I will find someone to kill him. Lu Junming nodded and said, anyone can be a follower. If he is dead, I will do it. Yes, Brother Ming, think about it. With your identity and the background of the underworld, isn't it more than enough to protect Qing Menjing? Ma Gangmin hated Xiaoqin to the bone. He couldn't wait to kill him immediately. The main thing is that guy Chao Yuliang. If Xiaoqin is dead, can he take advantage of the situation? This kid is very bad and the Chao family is also a bit more powerful than our Lu family. If the Qing family wants to choose, they will definitely choose the Chao family. Lu Zhiming said, now I want to rope in Xiaoqin because I want him to restrain Chao Yuliang. But Brother Ming, you have an advantage. You and Qing Menjing are in the same class. Chao Yuliang is too far away. Skinny Monkey analyzed. That makes sense. Lu Zhiming pondered for a moment. If this kid is willing to follow the rules, then let him live for 2 more days. If not, then don't blame me for being rude. Xiaoqin didn't know that Lu Zhiming planned to betray him, but it was nothing. In the past, Xiaoqin was afraid of him, so he had to find ways to restrain him. But now, unless Lu Zhiming found a more powerful killer with his strength, Xiaoqin didn't put him in his eyes at all. After school, Xiaoqin waited in the parking lot for the late Mississippi. Qing Menjing got in the car, but she said, "What is this thing? It's killing me?" Xiaoqin was also stunned. What is this thing? He saw Qing Menjing took out a hair clip from under her skirt. He suddenly wondered, huh? Isn't this Jingshuan's hair clip? Jingshuan's? Xiaoqin's heart tightened. He didn't know whether he should laugh or cry. Last time, Jin Beibei found some unknown liquid, and today Qing Menjing found Xin Jingshuan's hair clip. He was really, yes, she bought it with me. Why is it in your car? Qing Menjing looked at the hair clip in her hand in confusion. Has Jingxian been in your car recently? Just at your birthday party last time, Xiaoqin said, pretending that he didn't know anything. Oh, then why didn't Beibei find it when she was sitting here? I even took it once. Qing Menjing found it strange. I cleaned a car today. Maybe the workers saw it in the car when I was cleaning it, picked it up and put it on the seat. Xiaoqin did find a car wash to change the seat covers today, so that Jin Beibei and the young mistress would not complain that there was something on them. That's possible. Qing Menjing agreed with him this time. She nodded and said, I'll call her this weekend and ask her to come to my house. Then I'll give it back to her. This weekend? Xiaoqin was slightly stunned. It seemed that the news that Xin Jingxian had been raped by Qin Jinping hadn't been widely spread. At least, Qing Menjing didn't know it yet. Therefore, Xiaoqin pretended that he didn't know anything. Right, Lu Zhiming said that he wants to ask you out this weekend. Do you want to go? Did you promise him? Qing Menjing glanced at Xiaoqin. Did he give you any benefits? Yes. He promised to find some ancient jade for me. Xiaoqin didn't hide it. Ancient jade? What do you want it for? To sell it for money? Qing Menjing was a little confused. Oh, it's good for changing my physique, Xiaoqin said. It can help me practice. Oh. Qing Menjing answered and looked out of the window. After a while she said, then you promise him. Anyway, I'm free. If you don't think it's good, I'll turn him down. I feel that he's using you. Since Miss Qing agreed, Xiaoqin felt a little embarrassed. You're my servant. If you're awesome, I'll be proud. Qing Menjing said, you should work hard to practice and become a warrior as soon as possible. Then you can go back to the Xiao family. Are you driving me away? Xiaoqin was stunned. You figure it out yourself. Qing Menjing shook her head and stopped talking. As Xiaoqin drove, his heart was moved and filled with emotion. He couldn't understand Miss Cheng's thoughts. He felt that Miss Cheng's words were mixed with an inexplicable emotion. The place where Qing Zhongming was treating them today was not the Qing family's property, but a tea house. Xiaoqin knew about this tea house because it was the Xiao family's property. Xiaoqin couldn't understand why Qing Zhongming would choose this place as the venue. In addition, he thought about what Miss Cheng had said before. Did Miss Cheng know something in advance? Could it be that the Xiao family wanted him to go back? Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. He didn't think that the Xiao family would find out that he was the white fox. He thought that no one should know about this except for Xin Jingshan and Hong Zhu. Oh, there was also Song Huawu. However, little Song Huawu didn't participate in the family's struggles. She was like a referee and wouldn't casually speak about this matter. Moreover, she had promised him. Therefore, Xiao Chen parked the car in front of the tea house. With doubts in his heart, he went with Miss Cheng to a high-class private room on the 3rd floor. Dad, Uncle Xiao. Cheng Minjing wasn't surprised that Xiao Hai was also here. Uncle Cheng, Uncle Xiao, Xiao Chen said. As expected, he followed Miss Cheng in and greeted them politely. Xiao Hai was slightly stunned. Looking at the somewhat distant Xiao Chen, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. Meanwhile, Cheng Zhongming said with a straight face, Xiao Chen is calling your second uncle and Uncle Xiao? Xiao Chen's heart stirred slightly. To be honest, the resentment he felt when he was kicked out of the Xiao family was basically gone. After calming down, he also thought through many things. He reckoned that the Xiao family was also under pressure. After all, sometimes kicking him out of the Xiao family was equivalent to protecting him. Now that the Cheng family's anger had been vented, they wouldn't keep their eyes on him. Chapter 338. Otherwise, Xiao Chen would have been harassed by the Cheng family every day, and it would have been impossible for him to be as free as he was now. Second uncle. Xiao Chen called out and his heart ached a little. He said that he didn't care about the identity of the Xiao family, but that was to comfort himself. Even though he was a cultivator at the 6th level of the refinement stage and had the strength comparable to a level 7 inner force warrior, Xiao Chen still felt that he was a member of the Xiao family. Xiao Chen, I know that you may hate second uncle in your heart, and you may not understand, and you may be reluctant to call me second uncle, but second uncle actually has his own difficulties. Xiao Hai sighed and said, Today I asked Brother Cheng to meet you because I want to make it clear to you. You might not understand why you were implicated by my elder brother's false rumors. Why didn't your grandfather, your uncle, or Xiao Xiao get involved? Why did he only drive you out of the Xiao family? I understand that the son should pay his father's debts. Xiao Chen grinned, Second uncle, I am not unwilling. In fact, as long as I know that you did not deliberately drive me out cold-bloodedly, I will be satisfied. At least I am much better than Tang Tang. If I am useless, I will be driven out, and if I am useful, I will get back. Your Uncle Cheng is also here today. In fact, he knows about this. At the beginning, I asked him to take care of you, so you went to Menjing and became her servant. This is not an insult to you, but a disguised protection for you. Otherwise, the Cheng family will not be able to vent their anger, and your life will be very difficult. Xiao Hai continued, At the beginning, I did not tell you this. In fact, I was afraid that you were not calm at that time. But after this period of observation, I think you have regained your calmness, and you should be able to understand our difficulties before. Of course I understand. Xiao Chen smiled and said, In fact, on the day Uncle Cheng came to me, I had already thought it through. If you don't believe me, you can ask Uncle Cheng. Xiao Hai looked at Cheng Zhongming in surprise and saw Cheng Zhongming nodding. He was a little surprised. Cheng Zhongming did not mention this before, but now it seemed that Xiao Chen had known it all along. Xiao Chen, our Xiao family now has the help of the Sun family, and now we are gradually turning the situation around. When our Xiao family is at its peak again, it will be time for you to return to the Xiao family. Xiao Hai walked over, patted Xiao Chen's shoulder and said, It can be considered as God's blessing for the Xiao family, allowing the Sun family, which originally could have risen in power, to suddenly lose so many people. This has given our Xiao family a great opportunity. And I believe that the Xiao family will definitely get better. Xiao Chen thought in his heart, this Sun family. Are they really that kind? This family is a little shameless. But it's okay, since they dared to cheat the Xiao family, I'll just let the white fox send your whole family on horseback riding again. But at this stage you still have to suffer for a period of time. Xiao Hai said, But with your Uncle Cheng looking after you, there shouldn't be a problem. Your Uncle Cheng has also agreed to try his best to delay the issue of Menjing's marriage. When the time comes for you to return to the Xiao family, your marriage will still be valid. Xiao Chen was suddenly stunned. Me, and young miss, there will still be a day? But, what about Goddess Shen? Who wants to marry him? I don't want to have a boyfriend now. Cheng Minjing said with a slightly red face. It just so happens that Chao Yuliang made a big fool of himself. Now it's not easy to connect with the Cheng family through marriage. Qing Zhongming said, I don't know why Qiao Yuliang went crazy that day. Qing Minjing glanced at Xiao Qin and blushed a little. Xiao Qin now finally knew why young Miss said those words in the car. It was probably that Qing Zhongming had talked to her in advance, so young Miss was considered to be on his side, so it was reasonable for her to cheat Lu Jinming with him. But, in the future, do I really want to resume the marriage with young Miss? However, if young Miss were to marry someone else, Xiao Qin's heart was definitely not willing. This kind of possessiveness was very strange. Xiao Qin, but there is another piece of bad news. This may affect the marriage between you and Qing Minjing. Speaking of this, Xiao Hai paused and continued, the marriage between the Qing family and the Xiao family must be put on the agenda. Of course, I am talking about the matter between Qing Mingqiang and Xiao Xiao. Today the Qing family discussed this matter at the family meeting. Qing Zhongfan plans to bring Qing Mingqiang to the Xiao family to propose marriage in a few days. Xiao Qin was slightly stunned. Is it really not possible? Then isn't there no hope for Qi Zhigao? The Qing family will offer a lot of conditions, but your grandfather insisted that you return to the Xiao family. On this point, there is a conflict with the conditions of the Qing family, so both sides are not willing to give in. This matter is temporarily put on hold, but your uncle Qing said that this time, it seems that the Qing family is not so determined. As for the specifics, old Master Qing didn't say anything. We will know in a few days. Xiao Hai continued. It doesn't matter if I go back or not. The important thing is that Xiao Xiao doesn't like Qing Mingqiang. Xiao Qin said, I think Qi Zhigao is not bad. Qi Zhigao? I asked Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao can only say that she doesn't hate him. If she has to choose between the two, she will choose Qi Zhigao. Xiao Hai shook his head. I asked her who she likes, but she didn't tell me. Of course, your grandfather may not pay attention to her opinion. You are the root of the Xiao family. If you return to the Xiao family can prosper in the future. Otherwise, the Xiao family will have no successor. If you don't come back, the Xiao family will cease to exist after some time. Second uncle, please persuade Grandpa. I'm really fine. It doesn't matter whether I go back or not. Xiao Qin still had a plan. The decline of the Xiao family was only temporary. Once one day he could look down on Songning with the strength of the white fox without using the identity of the white fox, all the resources behind him would be invested into the Xiao family. At that time, the first aristocratic family in Songning would be the Xiao family. Alright, since you insist, I will go and persuade him. Xiao Hai nodded. When the Xiao family regains its glory, even if Qing Mingqiang and Xiao Xiao are together, it won't affect the relationship between you and Qing Minjing. After all, a strong alliance will allow the two families to cooperate more closely. Well, let's not talk about this. I'm hungry. Let's eat something. Xiao Qin didn't want to talk too much about this topic. He really didn't care about it. The knot in his heart had been untied. It was enough to know that the Xiao family didn't abandon him. It didn't matter whether he went back in name or not. If he wanted to go back now, even if he used the identity of the white fox in front of everyone, no one would dare to say no. But Xiao Qin didn't think it was necessary. What Qing Zhongming and Xiao Hai didn't expect was that Qing Zhongfan brought Qing Mingqiang and old Master Qing to the Xiao family. This time even old Master Qing went. It was enough to show the importance that the Qing family attached to the marriage. Qing Zhongfan deliberately chose a time when Qing Zhongming wasn't at home to do these things. If Qing Zhongming was here, he would always find some reasons to object. Now that Qing Zhongming wasn't here, it was convenient for him to settle the matter. When he came back, there would be nothing to say. Qing Zhongfan actually knew that Qing Zhongming and Xiao Feng had a good relationship back then. So, Qing Zhongming definitely didn't want Qing Minjing and Xiao Chen to break off the engagement. If Qing Mingqiang and Xiao Xiao got married, unless the Xiao family became as strong as before, it would be impossible for them to get married twice in a row. That was unrealistic. So, Qing Zhongming had always been a little opposed to the marriage between Qing Mingqiang and Xiao Xiao. This time he didn't bring him. Xiao Yuanshan was a little surprised that the Qing family came with so many people. When he saw old Master Qing, he immediately stood up to welcome him. Old Master Qing, have you thought it through? Are you planning to let Xiao Qin return to the Xiao family? After Qing Minjing's banquet, the Qing family began to frequently contact the Xiao family. It was just that the two families' conditions weren't the same, so it was temporarily put on hold. But today, it seemed that the Qing family intended to compromise and carry out the final negotiations? Otherwise, why would old Master Qing come personally? Hehe, brother Xiao, you are still so anxious. Old Master Qing smiled, but you are right. This time, we indeed intend to agree to this condition. But isn't your Xiao family going to make their stand? When are you going to let Xiao Xiao marry into the Cheng family? This condition was stuck here. At first, the Cheng family didn't want to compromise, but the Xiao family didn't want to compromise either. So it was a stalemate. But Qing Mingxiang thought about it. Anyway, Xiao Chen's temporary return wouldn't affect killing him. He was going to die sooner or later, so what's the harm in agreeing to it first? It was just a name. However, there had to be a condition. They couldn't let Xiao Chen return so quickly. After all, Xiao Chen had returned to the Xiao family. With the Xiao family's protection, it would be even harder to kill him. So, this time they came to set the condition. What does it have to do with this? Xiao Yuanshan couldn't help but ask. It has a lot to do with it. Old Master Cheng said, for the sake of fairness, I'm afraid that your Xiao family will go back on their words. The day that Xiao Xiao marries into the Cheng family will be the day that Xiao Chen returns. How about it? But our two families have decided on the marriage first. This can be written in the engagement document to prevent both of us from going back on our words. Xiao Yuanshan frowned. Logically speaking, what old Master Cheng said was reasonable. But the main problem wasn't it too long? Xiao Xiao was currently in middle school. When she could marry into the Cheng family, she would be at least 18 years old, right? There were still a few years left. Could there be any unforeseen events in between? Sure. Xiao Yuanshan didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao walked out of the house and looked at Qing Mingqiang, but it has to be written clearly. If it's because of your Cheng family that leads to the cancellation of the engagement or other situations, this agreement will still be in effect. Xiao Yuanshan couldn't help but nod. That's right. There was a precedent of the Cheng family canceling an engagement. If the Cheng family were to cancel the engagement again and not admit the matter of Xiao Chen's return, wouldn't it be a waste of effort? Chapter 339. Sure, no problem. Old Master Cheng didn't say anything. Since he agreed, he wouldn't go back on his word. The reason why he broke off the engagement was because his son was killed by Xiao Chen's father, Xiao Feng. It would be strange if he wasn't angry. However, to ensure fairness, there's also a condition. If it's because of your Xiao family, Xiao Chen doesn't want to return or can't return, it won't affect the engagement. Qing Zhongfan added. Xiao Yuanshan looked at Xiao Xiao in surprise. He didn't expect Xiao Xiao to agree to this condition. Previously, when Xiao Chen was chased out of the family, Xiao Xiao was cold and indifferent. But now, because the engagement would allow Xiao Chen to return, Xiao Xiao chose Qing Mingqiang. It seemed that no matter how much Xiao Xiao disliked Xiao Chen, she still remembered that she was a part of the Xiao family. She would do anything that was beneficial to the Xiao family. Sure, but before we officially get married, Qing Mingqiang can't force me to do something I'm not willing to do. Xiao Xiao nodded. That's for sure. We can get along first. When you have feelings for me, we can talk about other things. Qing Mingqiang didn't mind. The main reason he married Xiao Xiao was for the Xiao family. As for when he could touch Xiao Xiao, it wasn't important. He was a person who craved power more than anything else. All right, Grandpa, I have no objections. Xiao Xiao said to Xiao Yuanshan. Xiao Yuanshan didn't expect things to go so smoothly. Although there were some restrictions, Xiao Chen would definitely be able to return to the Xiao family in the future. He was relieved. However, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The Xiao family was in dire straits. Asking Xiao Chen to return had to depend on the Qing family. How embarrassing. But there was no other way. Xiao Feng was the leader of the younger generation. He was also a disciple of a big sect. His future was limitless. It could be said that with the title of the disciple and the engagement between Xiao Chen and Qing Menjing, the third generation of the Xiao family, the Xiao family could be said to be the sun at high noon. But now Xiao Feng was missing and he couldn't rely on the backing of a big sect. Most importantly, he knew his own situation. He was deeply poisoned and it was unknown how long he could live. The key point was that this poison could not be detoxified. He had already secretly seen a few powerful pharmacists, but they were all helpless. Xiao Yuanshan had already given up on treatment. He only hoped that with this marriage with the Qing family and the cooperation with the Sun family, after Xiao Chen took over the Xiao family would be able to survive. If Xiao Chen's son could cultivate, then the Xiao family would be able to survive. Otherwise they would really decline. If one's fist wasn't hard, then they didn't have the right to speak. Looking at old Master Cheng, who looked amiable on the surface, but spoke with a condescending tone, Xiao Yuanshan knew that he was in a disadvantageous position. All right, family head Qing, since both sides have no objections, shall we sign the contract? Xiao Yuanshan said. No problem. Old Master Qing nodded his head and signaled Qing Zhongfan to do it. Qing Zhongfan took out his laptop and quickly printed out the contract. Then he printed it out with a small printer. Both family heads signed their names on it, and the marriage was set. In these big families, any verbal agreement was not as important as the contract. With the contract, if they went back on their words, it was equivalent to throwing away the face of the family. Previously, because Yu Xiaochuan had a contract with the Tang family, Yu Xiaochuan had no choice but to find Tang Fangbai to cancel the marriage again and again. We are still in-laws in the future. Meng Chang, tomorrow is the day of the Songning Summit between the righteous and demon sects. Our Qing family is also invited. Bring Xiao Xiao to have a look and broaden her horizons. Old Master Qing said proudly. With the level of the Xiao family, they couldn't be invited to participate in the Songning Summit between the righteous and demon sects. Although this summit was held in Songning City, there weren't many local families in Songning City that were qualified to participate. Other than the Tang family and Yu family that were qualified to be spectators, the Qing family that was the head of the Songning family was the Qing family. The Xiao family didn't even receive an invitation. Xiao Yuanshan didn't agree directly, but turned to look at Xiao Xiao, asking for her opinion with a questioning gaze. All right. Xiao Xiao didn't refuse. Since they were already engaged, she knew what she should do. Although she promised Qing Mingqiang that he couldn't force her to do anything she didn't want to do, she had no reason to refuse when he asked her out. Otherwise, how could they be called an engaged couple? If they didn't even touch each other, how could it be considered an engagement? Didn't Shen Jingxian have to accompany Qin Jinpeng when he went out? Very good. Qing Mingqiang nodded with satisfaction and said, Xiao Xiao, let's get along well. I will also treat you well. I actually like you very much. It's not just because of the union of interest. After all, the current Xiao family isn't the previous Xiao family. When he said this, he concealed his true purpose. It was because it wasn't the previous Xiao family that he couldn't wait to find Xiao Xiao for a marriage alliance. The matter was settled like this. Old Master Qing brought Qing Zhongfan and Qing Mingqiang away from the Xiao family. At this time Xiao Hai also just returned. He met Xiao Qin today and talked a lot with Xiao Qin. Seeing that Xiao Qin was so reasonable and mature, he was very gratified. After all, he also hoped that the Xiao family would continue. He couldn't do it himself because his ability was limited, so he pinned his hopes on Xiao Qin. As long as the family's foundation was strong enough, even if the family head was trash and couldn't cultivate, he could still persevere and not fall. The Lu family, a gang family, could actually become one of the 9 families of Songning County, which proved this point. The overall strength was also very important. Although in many cases, there was a ruthless person in the family who could control everything, the overall strength could also make up for the shortcomings of not having a genius. Dad Xiao Xiao? What are you all doing in the living room? Returning to the Xiao family's house, Xiao Hai saw his father and daughter sitting on the sofa in the living room the moment he entered the door. Judging from the number of teacups on the coffee table, they should have just sent away a group of guests. Who was it that visited the Xiao family? Xiao Hai, you're back? Xiao Yuanshan looked at Xiao Hai and then said, I have something to tell you. Previously the old man of the Qing family came and proposed marriage. Xiao Xiao also agreed. Ah? Xiao Hai was stunned. Such a big matter and he actually wasn't at home? But thinking about it, his big brother was missing, and the family matters were all decided by his father. He didn't have any say in it, so he smiled bitterly. Dad, then, we don't insist on our conditions? The Qing family agreed to our conditions. This is the contract of the marriage. You will know after you take a look. Xiao Yuanshan pointed at the contract on the coffee table and said to Xiao Hai. Xiao Hai quickly picked up the contract on the table and carefully looked at it. After reading it, he let out a sigh of relief. Although there were conditions on it, it was still fair. Whether it was the Qing family breaking off the marriage or the Xiao family Xiao Qin not willing to return, it wouldn't affect the other effects of the contract. In other words, as long as there were no problems on his side, there wouldn't be a problem. And the Xiao family naturally couldn't not let Xiao Qin return. If the Xiao family had a few successors, then there might be some resistance for Xiao Qin to return. But the problem now was that the Xiao family was looking forward to Xiao Qin's return. How about it? I think that it's good enough to meet these conditions. Xiao Yuanshan said. He really didn't have much time left. He didn't know when he would pass away, so he had to arrange everything while he was still alive. Otherwise, Xiao Hai didn't have enough courage and wouldn't have any ideas in many situations. He didn't know if he could take up the position of the family head. If he and Xiao Qin were to discuss it, then the Xiao family would be able to survive. I don't have any objections, mainly Xiao Xiao. Xiao Hai looked at Xiao Xiao, who wasn't far away. I also don't have any objections, Xiao Xiao said. Xiao Hai was a little surprised. Previously, Xiao Xiao didn't think much of Xiao Qin. When Xiao Qin was chased out of the family, she didn't say much. He didn't know why she actually agreed to Qing Mingxiang's marriage. Seeing that her father was looking at her, Xiao Xiao explained, "Anyway, it's the same no matter who I marry. It's not like I can choose. Just treat it as a contribution to the Xiao family when I leave." Xiao Xiao, Dad is sorry. I didn't let you and Qi Zhigao be together, Xiao Hai said with some self-blame. It's nothing. Xiao Xiao shook her head and said, although I have a better impression of Qi Zhigao than Qing Mingqiang, this kind of impression is only from a childhood playmate. I didn't like him when I was young. It's just that I feel that marrying Qi Zhigao is more acceptable than marrying Qing Mingqiang. After all, Qing Mingqiang is too scheming. I don't like him. Oh? Xiao Hai was slightly stunned. Then who do you like? I haven't been in contact with many boys since I was young. Who else can I like? Xiao Xiao shook her head. Anyway, I'm going to marry someone, so it doesn't matter. This? Xiao Hai sighed. He also heard a trace of dissatisfaction and indifference towards Qing Mingqiang in Xiao Zhao's tone. However, he couldn't change anything. He didn't have the ability to change anything. The decline of the Xiao family was also related to his mediocre aptitude. If he was also a genius and entered that sect, it wouldn't be like this. I'm going to sleep? Xiao Zhao's personality was very cold. She didn't say much and left the guest room. After Xiao Xiao left, Xiao Hai felt a little guilty. Dad, isn't it a little unfair to treat Xiao Xiao like this? This child is cold on the outside but warm on the inside. This is her choice. Xiao Yuanshan said, don't look at how she doesn't care about Xiao Chen on the surface. In her heart, she still hopes that this brother is good. Otherwise, she wouldn't have agreed to the marriage with the Cheng family. In fact, compared to the Qi family, the Cheng family isn't too different. The only difference is that Xiao Chen will return. Yes, even if we were to marry into the Cheng family, it would be good if the Cheng family didn't hit us when we were down. They wouldn't be able to give us too much help. Chapter 340. At this point, Xiao Hai couldn't help but have some doubts. The Cheng family looking for us for a marriage alliance, could it be purely because Qing Mingqiang likes Xiao Xiao? And he can't borrow any power? What I am worried about is not that we are unable to borrow anything from them. When Xiao Yuanshan spoke to this point, he could not help but sigh and said, what I am worried about now is that the Qing family has other motives. Oh. What intentions? Xiao Hai couldn't help but be surprised and asked in confusion. I can't say for sure. Previously, I thought that they wanted to use the marriage alliance to annex the Xiao family. After all, the Xiao family has no successor in your generation. If Xiao Xiao marries Qing Mingqiang, then the Xiao family will be the same as the Qing family. When you and I both leave, the Xiao family will no longer exist. After all, this is also the main reason why I feel that they have always been against Xiao Chen's return. At this point, Xiao Yuanshan paused for a moment and said, but later on they agreed to Xiao Chen's return. I don't understand. If Xiao Chen returns, then the Xiao family won't have no successor. Then why did they do this? Oh. Xiao Hai suddenly understood. He didn't think that his father had considered so much, but now it seems that the Cheng family's goal is a bit strange. Forget it, since everything is fine now, I can only think that Qing Mingqiang likes Xiao Xiao more. After all, with the Cheng family's current state, there is no need for them to marry anyone. The Cheng family will sit firmly on the #1 seat of the Songning aristocratic family. Moreover, I heard that old Master Cheng recently broke through again. Xiao Yuanshan thought of his body's condition and was a bit worried. The old Master Cheng, who was about the same age, not only had a good body but also broke through. It wouldn't be a problem for him to live for another few decades. The Cheng family could wait for Qing Mingqiang to grow up, but the Xiao family couldn't. Okay then, should I tell this good news to Xiao Qin? Xiao Hai said, today I met with Chen. He has grown up and is much more mature than before. He should be able to take on the position of young patriarch. Let's not. The Cheng family has also set a condition. It's not good for us to go against it in advance. Anyway, it's just a matter of time. Let him stay with Cheng Menjing first. Who knows, they might get angry over time. Xiao Yuanshan waved his hand and said, all right. Xiao Hai was also optimistic that Xiao Qin and Cheng Menjing would be together. If the two of them were to be together, it would be like meat on both the palms of the Cheng family's hands. The future leader of the Xiao family would be old Master Cheng's grandson. What was the point of annexing? However, what she was most afraid of was that old Master Cheng would not marry Cheng Menjing to Xiao Chen, and then there would be nothing left. However, this was not something that Xiao Hai could worry about. He could only leave it to Cheng Zhongming to think of a way to manipulate it. Xiao Chen drove the Missy back to the villa. On the way, the Missy was silent. During the meal, Cheng Zhongming said a lot of hints, hinting that Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing could be together in the future. Uncle Cheng said those words because of my father. Actually, it's fine as long as we know what's going on. You don't like me, I know. When the time comes, I won't use this to threaten you. Xiao Chen said to Cheng Menjing while driving. Oh. Cheng Menjing heard Xiao Chen's words and felt a little disappointed. This guy, why didn't he have any sense of anticipation? Could it be that he didn't like me at all? You don't seem too happy? Could it be that you want us to continue being together? Xiao Chen saw that the Missy's mood seemed to be down, so he asked. Who wants to be together with you? Cheng Menjing glared at Xiao Chen with dissatisfaction and said indifferently, I don't want to get married so early. It's good to have you as a shield. You hold the position first. When I find my true love, I will replace you. Okay. Xiao Chen was stunned. He didn't expect the Missy to think so. But since he was her servant, he naturally had to think for her. Cheng Menjing glanced at him and didn't say anything, so they drove back to the villa in silence. After returning to the villa, Cheng Menjing went upstairs to sleep, and Xiao Chen was ready to boil the medicine, but he was stopped by Yi Xiaoye in the living room. Xiao Chen, where did you go last night? I'm still waiting for you to cook for me. Sweat. Xiao Chen forgot about Yi Xiaoye. He had promised to cook with this little girl before, but he came back late today. We ate out today. Someone is treating us. Should I cook for you now? That's not necessary. It's embarrassing to cook for me alone. Yi Xiaoye shook her head. I'll just eat some biscuits like before. No need. It'll be quick. Xiao Chen thought that Yi Xiaoye was a good person. To be honest, he was very grateful to her. If it weren't for her, he wouldn't have any martial arts. Speaking of this martial arts, Xiao Chen felt that it was a trap. As an awesome cultivator, he actually didn't have any martial arts. However, perhaps in the world of cultivators, his level was the weakest. After the other party quickly surpassed this level, there must be a higher level above the refinement stage. At that level, there might be a corresponding martial arts technique. Xiao Chen entered the kitchen and then busied himself for a while. A bowl of freshly made ramen was served. Xiao Chen was quite good at making noodles because he had been selling fried dough sticks in the morning market. So fast? Yi Xiaoye was a little surprised. She picked up the chopsticks and ate it. It was much more delicious than instant noodles and biscuits. And if there's nothing else, I'll go back to my room first. You eat it yourself. Xiao Chen was in a hurry to boil the medicine. Oh, okay. Yi Xiaoye nodded. When Xiao Chen left, she took out her mobile phone while eating and began to edit a message. As soon as Xiao Chen plugged in the electric casserole, he received a push message from the Warrior Guild client. It was sent by Yi Bia. Tomorrow night, do you know about the Devil Songning Summit registration? How's the preparation going? Yi Bia asked. It's okay, how else can it be? Where are we meeting tomorrow? Xiao Chen replied. At the entrance of the Lead Hua Waterfront Villa District. Do you have a car? Can you drive to pick me up? Yi Bia asked. How about a bicycle? Xiao Chen had a car but he couldn't drive it. As soon as he drove, he would be recognized by Yi Xiaoye. Forget it, let's walk. Yi Xiaoye was also a martial artist, so she didn't feel that there was anything wrong with walking. Okay, then what time should I meet you tomorrow? Xiao Chen asked. At 5:30, the registration will start at 6:30. 1 hour, our speed is enough to walk to the place. By the way, are you confident? Yi Xiaoye said. I don't know what to do. How can I be confident? Xiao Chen asked. It's just some competitions and there are competitions between the righteous and the devil. Whoever wins more wins in the end. Yi Xiaoye said. Oh, then we'll see. Xiao Chen was not interested in these things. He just accompanied Yi Xiaoye and did whatever Yi Xiaoye asked him to do. After tomorrow's matter was settled, Xiao Chen was relieved. He waited for the medicinal materials to be decocted, and then continued to take them. Since he had nothing to do, Xiao Chen sent a text message to Goddess Shen and Tang Tang, asking them what they were doing. Of course, Goddess Shen's text was sent using White Fox's mobile phone number. Soon Goddess Shen's text message came back. I'm lying down. I just woke up. By the way, my father knows that you did it yesterday. What did I do? What did I do? Xiao Chen was stunned. He did not understand what Xin Jingxian was referring to. Don't play dumb. Don't you know what you did to me in the villa? I'm talking about your identity as Xiao Chen. Xin Jingxian replied. After reading the text message, Xiao Chen was slightly shocked. Xin Jinghao knew? He quickly asked, how did he know? Xin Jingxian deleted the text message she had sent before, and then directly called White Fox's phone number. Goddess Xin. Xiao Chen picked up the phone. Are you crazy? Call me Goddess Xin. Xin Jingxian was a little dissatisfied. You calling me that reminds me of a sentence. Behind every goddess there is, the sentence you told me. Don't worry. I won't F***ck you until you vomit, Xiao Chen promised. Humph, I'll let you F***ck me, Xin Jingxian said. Right, what did you say was going on before? How did Uncle Xin know? Xiao Chen smiled and didn't care. It was normal that Xin Jingxian couldn't accept the intimate relationship between the two. After all, the previous incident happened under the effect of the incense. It's like this. Xin Jingxian told Xiao Chen about the previous incident. Xiao Chen frowned. Someone had actually taken a picture of him? And someone got the video of Qin Jinping's car? Who the hell did this? Is someone targeting me? Would the fact that he was a white fox be exposed? But now it seemed that it wasn't, so Xiao Chen said, don't mention this again. Don't talk about me in front of Uncle Xin. In fact, Uncle Xin is right. If my identity is exposed, then the thing between us will probably be over, unless my ability can be further improved. If I am a martial artist at the 10th stage of internal force, it probably won't be a problem. Well, I know. Xin Jingxian said, I will be careful. When you are Xiao Chen's face, I will keep a distance from you. You don't have to keep a distance too much. Just do it secretly like before, Xiao Chen said. I hate you. I'm going to eat something. I'm hungry. Xin Jingxian said, I'll hang up first. Okay. Xiao Chen laughed. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Chen saw that Tang Tang hadn't replied to his text message. He was a little worried. Before, she didn't appear at Cheng Minjing's birthday party. There was no news for a long time. Xiao Chen couldn't help but worry about her situation. After thinking about it, Xiao Chen directly dialed Tang Tang's cell phone, but what he didn't expect was that Tang Tang's cell phone was turned off. It seemed that either Tang Tang changed her cell phone number, or her cell phone was taken away by her family. Chapter 341. Xiao Chen frowned. He planned to find a chance to inquire about it, but the best candidate was undoubtedly Yu Xiaochuan. But why didn't this guy ask me for help recently? After that, Xiao Chen called Zhuing Xiong again. Xiao Chen hadn't seen this little brother for a long time. He didn't go to Cheng Minjing's birthday before. Although he was related to Cheng Minjing and Jin Beibei, the Zhu family was powerful now. They might not be humble to attend these banquets. Even if the Cheng family was the top family, as long as the Zhu family's old ancestor was there, the Zhu family's status was also superior. Zhuing Xiong, what have you been doing recently? Why didn't you attend Minjing's birthday party? Xiao Chen asked after the phone was connected. Boss, you called at the right time. I just regained my freedom and was about to call you, but your phone was busy just now. I didn't expect you to call me. Zhuing Xiong's excited voice came from the other side of the phone. Puff. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Why are you under house arrest again? It's because my family found out about what happened with the Sun family before, so they didn't let me go out. Coincidentally, my old ancestor said that he wanted to take me to participate in a so-called righteous and demonic Songning summit. He said that my strength was too low, so he forced me to cultivate in seclusion at home to improve my strength. I was almost tortured to death. He gave me a bunch of inexplicable elixirs and almost sacrificed me. Zhuing Xiong said with a sad face. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But then again, Zhuing Xiong also participated in the righteous and demonic Songning summit? Xiao Chen suddenly thought that Zhuing Xiong also knew the identity of White Fox. Wouldn't they meet tomorrow? So he said, you will go tomorrow too? How is your strength now? No wonder I haven't seen you for a while. Yeah, I'm going too. Boss, are you going too? Zhuing Xiong was a little surprised. Boss, are you going back to the Xiao family? I'm too ill-informed. No, I have another identity, you know. So just pretend that you don't know me tomorrow, Xiao Chen said. Oh, no problem. It's impossible for us to sit together at that time. I don't think we'll even have a chance to talk. Zhuing Xiong said, Boss, I'm already a martial artist at the second stage of inner strength. So awesome. Xiao Qin was a little surprised. The old ancestor of the Zhu family did have some ability. Although his strength was nothing in Xiao Qian's eyes, it was very rare for Zhu Yingxiong. How can I be as awesome as you, boss? Zhu Yingxiong smiled and said, right, boss, I heard that the Sun family was finished when I came out of seclusion. How did you fix it? I fixed it, Xiao Qin said. There was no need to hide it. After all, many people knew that it was White Fox who did it, so there was no need to hide it from Zhu Yingxiong. F***CKme, is this for real? So awesome. Zhu Yingxiong was surprised. Boss, you can actually let people get the wind on the horse? Yes, Xiao Qin said. Then can you help me let someone get the wind on the horse? Zhu Yingxiong asked with anticipation. Who? Xiao Qin was stunned. The young master of a big family in the province, which is the real martial family. His family is about the same size as the Shin family. King stole my fiancée. Zhu Yingxiong said angrily, this bastard harassed my fiancée while I was in seclusion. Fortunately, my fiancée was strong-willed and loyal to me. Otherwise, he would have gotten his way. If there weren't others around, this kid would have tried to force himself on her. The real martial family was a level higher than ordinary martial arts families. No matter how big the Qing family was, they could only be called an ancient martial family. They could not be called a real martial family. Under normal circumstances, they could only be called an aristocratic family. Of course, the real martial family was also a member of the ancient martial family. The real martial family could also be called an ancient martial family. However, ancient martial families were not all real martial families. You have a fiancé? Xiao Qian's eyes widened. He had never heard that Zhu Yingxiong had a fiancé. Not long ago. After we met, I went into seclusion. My family's ancestor told me, Zhu Yingxiong said. Which family's man? Xiao Qin was stunned. Yu Xiaochuan's sister, Yu Shanshan. Zhu Yingxiong still didn't know about the grudge between Xiao Qin and Yu Xiaochuan. However, it wasn't a grudge anymore. Yu Xiaochuan was about to change. He was no longer a threat to Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin was stunned. You family? Yes. Zhu Yingxiong said, although the Yu family is quite hypocritical, Yu Shanshan is definitely not. She is a very pure girl. She doesn't have many schemes. Alright, I wish you happiness. Xiao Qin thought about it. The matter between him and Yu Xiaochuan didn't seem to affect Zhu Yingxiong. After all, his daughter was married off. When the Yu family was destroyed, it had nothing to do with the Zhu family. Yes, boss. Let's talk about serious matters. Is Fengyi okay? I won't be at ease if he doesn't die. Zhu Yingxiong asked carefully, but, can he cause trouble for you? He won't give it to me. The main thing is you. If he suspects, he will definitely suspect you. Xiao Qin said. In fact, Xiao Qin could do this kind of thing easily. Zhu Yingxiong could become enemies with the Sun family because he protected Kerlin. Of course, he could help him kill his love rival. Zhu Yingxiong was stunned. Then he immediately thought that if something happened to the young master here, the first suspect would be him, Zhu Yingxiong. He wouldn't suspect others. However, he gritted his teeth and said, kill him. Otherwise, I really can't sleep. This thing has no evidence. If he really comes to me, my elder will settle it for me. Needless to say, Zhu Yingxiong was quite a ruthless person. He was more decisive, which was in line with Xiao Qian's character. What's his name? What's his strength? I will act according to the situation. Xiao Qin smiled. In fact, it didn't have to be Fengyi. There were other ways to put people to death. His name is Ouyang Tang, but he isn't a direct descendant of the Ouyang family. He belongs to the side branch, but his strength isn't weak. I heard that he wants to participate in the competition for the young master, so he came to the summit to show his face and make a name for himself. He is completely different from us who are just spectators. Zhu Yingxiong said with some envy, a martial artist at the peak of the 4th level of inner force. Oh, I will remember it. I will see how it goes tomorrow. Xiao Qin didn't refuse. After so many years, I have to help you as your boss. Otherwise, you will be a wasted boss. Boss, be careful. It's okay to expose me, but don't expose yourself. Zhu Yingxiong quickly reminded. My identity tomorrow is White Fox. It doesn't matter if I am exposed. Anyway, the identity of White Fox had made a lot of enemies. There was nothing to be afraid of. Let's talk about it when we can find him. Moreover, Song Huawu also said that at the Righteous and Demonic Summit, it started and ended at the summit. Xiao Qin had been staying in Songning City. As long as he didn't go to the Ouyang family's territory, there shouldn't be too much of a problem. When Xiaoqun could go there, it would be the time when the Ouyang family dared to make a move. Thank you, boss, Zhu Yingxiong said gratefully. After hanging up the phone with Zhu Yingxiong, Xiaoqun's medicinal herbs were also decocted. After consuming it, Xiaoqun held the spiritual jade in his hand and began to cultivate. After changing the medicinal herbs of the prescription, it formed a burning manic in Xiaoqun's body. Following that, the energy in the spiritual jade was continuously absorbed into Xiaoqun's body. Xiaoqun began to train crazily, exerting the medicinal properties in his body to the extreme. After an hour, Xiaoqun stopped. He threw the powder of the spiritual jade in his hand into the trash can and walked into the bathroom. At this point, all the spiritual jade in his hand had been consumed, and his strength had reached the peak of the 6th level of the Qi refinement stage. Although he hadn't touched the barrier of the 7th level, Xiaoqun estimated that it was almost there. As long as he had enough spiritual jade to assist him, breaking through to the 7th level of the Qi refinement stage shouldn't be a problem. Phew. Xiaoqun didn't expect that he would make progress on the first night of the Righteous and Demonic Summit, Songning. He was different from Zhu Yingxiong. Zhu Yingxiong was just a spectator while he really had to compete on the stage. If his strength was too weak, he could only be beaten up. However, now that he was equivalent to a martial artist at the peak of the 7th level of the inner force, he should almost be considered as the leader of the summit, right? Xiaoqun felt that the style of this summit shouldn't be high. After all, Songning City wasn't a big city, and the summits held in the city didn't have too powerful people. The night passed uneventfully. The next morning, before Xiaoqun went to school, he told Missy that he had something to do at night. When Cheng Minjing asked him what he was going to do, he only said that he was going to look for Zhu Yingxiong, so Missy didn't mind. After all, when he was a number 1 middle school, Cheng Minjing knew that Xiaoqun and Zhu Yingxiong hung out together. At 5:30 that night, Xiaoqun walked a little earlier from school. At the entrance of the community, he saw Yi Xiaoya in tight clothes, and he was wearing a white fox mask. White fox, you're here? Yi Xiaoya glanced at Xiaoqun. Why are you always wearing a mask? Which sect are you from? Are you so afraid of others recognizing you? The first time Xiaoqun did a mission, it was understandable that he wore a mask. After all, many mission trial takers didn't want others to know their true identities. However, things were different now. The two of them were very familiar with each other and they were even partners. However, Xiaoqun still wore a mask, which made Yi Xiaoya feel weird. And I don't want others to know my true identity, Xiaoqun nodded. Then can you tell me which sect are you from? Okay. Yi Xiaoya nodded and didn't probe further. After all, this wasn't a big deal. If he really came from a hidden sect, it was normal that he didn't want others to know his identity. Are we leaving now? Xiaoqun asked. Is it the Zheng family martial arts dojo? Yes, it's only half an hour's walk. Yi Xiaoya said as she walked. When you get there, if you don't want to say your sect when you register, just say that you are a demonic cultivator or a rogue cultivator. Why do I need an invitation? Yi Xiaoya asked. Without an invitation, how are we going to enter? Xiaoqun pointed to the two guards not far away and said. That's for those low-level martial artists and ordinary people. Do I need an invitation? Yi Xiaoya said disdainfully. Please show me your invitation. A person who was about to enter the martial arts hall was stopped by the two guards and said coldly. I'm from the Zheng family martial arts hall. Do I still need an invitation? Xiaoqun actually knew the person who was stopped and he was quite familiar with him. Was Jing Xiaoqun someone from the Zheng family martial arts hall? This is the venue of the Righteous and Demonic Summits. If you don't have an invitation, please leave, the guard said coldly. But didn't we agree before that people from the Zheng family can enter and watch as they please? Jing Xiaoqun was a little anxious. I'm really from the Zheng family martial arts hall. I have an identification card, and I've also filed it with your managing elder. Didn't you hear that I asked you to leave? Do I need to say it a second time? Look at my lips, brother, scram. The guard outside glanced at Jing Xiaoqun contemptuously and said coldly. Jing Xiaoqun was so angry that his whole body was trembling. However, he knew that with his strength, it was impossible for him to do anything to the two guards. He could only take out his phone and plan to contact them according to the contact information given to him by the organizer's managing elder. Mother **Ker, get out of the way, don't block the door. Don't you understand human language? The guard outside slapped Jing Xiaoqun's face. Not only did he slap Jing Xiaoquan's phone, but he also spun several times on the ground like a spinning top before he fell to the ground with blood flowing from his ears. In fact, this was done on purpose by the guard. He didn't care if you were from the Zheng family or not. So what if you were from the Zheng family? You're just a weak, unranked family in the secular world. You're already out of the 9 families. What can you do? You still dare to complain? Isn't that courting death? The reason why he stopped Jing Xiaoquan was because not far away, there were 2 black ticket dealers run by the 2 guards. They wanted to enter the door and buy black tickets so that the 2 brothers could take the opportunity to make a fortune. Previously, the 2 of them stopped a few people who originally had invitations but were obviously a little weak. They said that their invitations were fake. They had no choice but to beg with kind words. Under the guidance of the kind-hearted person, they bought black tickets and entered. However, Jing Xiaoquan didn't listen to them and even dared to make a phone call to complain. Would the guard let him go? Are you sure you're speaking human language? Where did this dog come from? What are you barking for? The guard was smugly looking at Jing Xiaoquan with a smug smile. He didn't expect a sneer to ring in his ear, giving him a fright. Oh, who the F***ck is scolding me? Do you want to die? The guard turned around, but what greeted him was a slap. Bang! The guard flew out from the slap and fell on the ground not far away. Blood flowed from his orifices. Even if he didn't die, he would probably be a cripple. You. Who are you? The other guard was dumbfounded and looked at Xiao Chen in horror. Xiao Chen's slap just now had at least the inner force level of a 4th or 5th stage martial artist. And they, the guards, only had the inner force level of a 3rd stage. What does it have to do with you? Xiao Chen looked at him coldly. No. It doesn't matter. The guard took a deep breath and said carefully, "Young hero, please." He couldn't beat Xiao Chen, and Xiao Chen didn't seem to have a good temper. There was no need for him to stand up for another person and offend Xiao Chen. Moreover, the person Xiao Chen beat was a representative of a famous sect, and he was a representative of a devil sect. The 2 of them were not on the same side. Now they were only temporarily cooperating to sell black tickets. After the summit was over, there would be no relationship between them. Xiao Chen nodded and was about to go in with Yi Xiaoya. He didn't go to see Jing Xiaoquan again because it was not appropriate for him to contact Jing Xiaoquan with his current identity, and Jing Xiaoquan didn't know him. The reason why he helped Jing Xiaoquan was that Jing Xiaoquan also stood up for him when he first arrived at second high school. Although most of it was for Tang Tang's sake, no matter what, Xiao Chen was still grateful. These people who helped him, Xiao Chen remembered them in his heart. Moreover, he also didn't like the guard. You want to leave after beating up a member of the Ouyang family of Zhenwu? How dare you? A sneer came from behind Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoya stopped and turned to look at the person. They saw a young man in his 20s with an arrogant face. He was pointing at Xiao Chen at the moment. Ouyang family? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. It couldn't be such a coincidence, could it? This person was from the Ouyang family? Yes, judging from your strength, you should be a warrior who came to participate in the summit. Which faction are you from? Tell me your name. This person was Ouyang Tang, who was mentioned by Zhuing Xiong. He glanced at the masked Xiao Chen and said, "You are afraid of everything and wear a mask. Does it make you look different? Or do you have no face to see others?" Devil Star Sect. Yi Xiaoya looked at Xiao Chen with some annoyance. She didn't expect this guy to cause trouble as soon as he came. Was it necessary? It seemed that this guy was quite kind-hearted. Did he help when he saw injustice? What did the Zheng family martial arts dojo's people getting beaten up have to do with him? Although you beat up a small fry, you represented the demonic alliance and the Society of Famous Families. Now they came looking for you, right? The Zhenwu family was one of the leading families in this summit, and the Ouyang family was one of them. Yi Xiaoya had no choice but to report her sect. If Xiao Chen said that he was a rogue cultivator, wouldn't he be retaliated on the spot? Devil Star Sect? Ouyang Tang's expression changed slightly. He then said hatefully, "Good, very good. If you have the ability, let's see who's better in the competition." Devil Star Sect was not a weak sect in the Devil Sect. Ouyang Tang naturally knew that. Since the other party also had a background and was originally hostile to the Society of Famous Families, he was not in a hurry to take revenge. After all, it would be more fun to step on people in the arena. Brother Ouyang Tang, what's wrong with you? Are you flustered and exasperated? Why are you fighting before the competition has even started? You really have a fiery temper. The person who spoke was a thin man with a gloomy face. This person was Li Shan-ing from the colorful Li family. He and Ouyang Tang knew each other. Both of their families were main members of the Society of Famous Families, so they had come to participate in this Righteous Devil Summit. Oh, so it's Brother Ing. F***ck, a disciple of the Demonic Alliance injured my family's staff. Ouyang Tang said angrily. It's okay. Brother Ing will help you vent your anger. Li Shan-ing had come with the purpose of befriending Ouyang Tang. In the past, he was the second young master, so he could not openly interact with the other disciples of the Zhenwu family. However, it was different now. He was the heir of the family. For the sake of his connections in the future, he had to make these friends. He was now very powerful. The first thing he wanted was to level up while he was staying in the hotel for a few days. He was now a Stage 7 Inner Force expert, so he felt good about himself. He felt invincible. Among the righteous and demon sects, Inner Force Stage 7 was already a well-known existence. He couldn't say who he wanted to kill, but it was easy and pleasant to kill a few demon sect disciples. Otherwise, he wouldn't have boasted so much. Chapter 343. Thank you so much, Brother Ing. Ouyang Tang was overjoyed and nodded gratefully. This was because he was not sure of Xiao Chen's strength. Naturally, he was more than happy to have someone to do it for him. He had said those harsh words to Xiao Chen just to save face for the Ouyang clan. But now he had a way out of this embarrassing situation. He said, "This person is really infuriating. He really knows how to act tough." But when he met Brother Ing, his acting has reached its limit. Brother Ing, you have the strength of Stage 6 Inner Force now, right? Hee. Li Shan-ing smiled faintly and said proudly, I am now a Stage 7 Inner Force martial artist. What? Stage 7 Inner Force? Ouyang Tang's eyes widened. One had to know that a Stage 7 Inner Force martial artist was a top-notch existence in the Zhenwu family. In this summit, he was also a genius existence and was destined to shine. Well, I just broke through. Li Shan-ing nodded. Although Xiao Chen had turned around, he had seen Li Shan-ing from the corner of his eye. He did not expect Li Shan-ing to join in the fun. Moreover, according to Li Shan-ing, this guy was actually a martial artist? Wasn't he too good at enduring? This was even better than Chao Yuliang's endurance. His eyeballs were about to explode, but he still endured it. He was really King ruthless person. Yi Xiaoye and Yi Xiaoye entered the courtyard of the Zheng family's martial arts dojo. In the courtyard, someone was registering people's identities. The two walked over. Yi Xiaoye had previously said that Xiao Chen was from the Demonic Star sect, so she could not change her words now. Therefore she said, Demonic Star sect disciple Yi Bia and Demonic Star sect disciple Bai Hu, here to register. This is your summit qualification card. Please wear it on your chest. There are rules and regulations on the back. Take a look. The person in charge of registration was a man in his 40s. At a glance, one could tell that his strength was extraordinary. He looked cold and expressionless. Okay, Elder Kuan Tian. Yi Xiaoye obviously knew this person. She took the summit qualification card, handed one to Xiao Chen, and then said respectfully, Do you know him? After the two of them left, Xiao Chen asked. He was not clear about the rules here. Yes, he is a resident elder of the Demon Alliance. His strength is superb, don't provoke him. Yi Xiaoye reminded. He didn't provoke me, so why would I provoke him? Xiao Chen nodded. Where are we going next? This qualification card is the general card here. There are room numbers on it. We can go to the room to rest or we can casually walk around here, but there is one thing you have to remember in here, do not easily conflict with others. If there is a conflict, both sides can use the form of a battle, unless one side directly kneels down and admits defeat and gives up the qualifications to the summit. Otherwise, we will have to compete. Yi Xiaoye said to Xiao Chen, if you admit defeat, you're not representing yourself but your faction. If you quit, the Demon Alliance will deduct 10 points. Therefore, not only will you be hated by the orthodox sects, but you'll also be despised by the Demon Alliance. Maybe someone will come after you after this. But if you lose, then no one will say anything about you. Oh, what if the two sides of the conflict are from the same faction? Xiao Chen asked. That would be a private matter. Whether you admit defeat or fight, you won't lose any points but you won't lose any lives. Yi Xiaoye said. So barbaric and terrifying. Xiao Chen said. The rules of this summit were too messy. It was just like the red name map in the game, anyone could PK at will. There are still rules here. When you walk the pugilistic world you will know what rules are. Yi Xiaoye said indifferently, at that time the rules will be your fist. Xiaoqin nodded. Yi Xiaoya had taught him a lesson today. It seemed that the matters of martial artists were filled with cruelty. He could not come into contact with it previously, but now that he had come into contact with it, he had not fully adapted to it. Although Xiaoqin was already considered a relatively ruthless person to his enemies, he was not to the point where he would kill without a word. However, looking at these martial artists, it seemed that this was the case. So if you have the strength, try to save it for the competition at the summit. Don't talk nonsense before that. Yi Xiaoya reminded him. Also, you are now representing our demonic star sect. Don't cause trouble for the demonic star sect. Oh? Xiaoqin nodded. He was just here to be a bystander. He would do whatever Yi Xiaoya asked him to do. Isn't this junior sister Yi? Just as Yi Xiaoya was planning to go to the room to rest according to the instructions on the qualification card, a voice sounded. Yi Xiaoya was afraid that Xiaoqin would cause trouble, so she did not plan to bring him around. She only planned to keep him in the room and wait for the registration to end before going to the venue directly. She did not expect to meet an acquaintance at the door of the room. It's senior brother Lung. Yi Xiaoya saw the appearance of the person and nodded at him, but she was not as enthusiastic as the other party. Junior sister Yi, I knew that your demonic star sect would definitely let you come this time. The person beside you is... Why is he still wearing a mask? Lung Youxiang looked at Xiaoqin with an unfriendly expression. Although Xiaoqin was wearing a mask, his masculine features were quite obvious. He was Yi Xiaoya's pursuer, so he was especially concerned about the men around Yi Xiaoya. Oh, it's my junior brother, senior brother Lung. If there's nothing else, we will go back to the room to rest. See you later. Yi Xiaoya nodded at him, obviously not willing to talk much. You are staying in the same room? Lung Youxiang was stunned, and then his expression became very ugly. People of the martial arts world do not bother about trifles. Besides, it's just a temporary break. This is my junior brother, what can he do to me? I want to rest, please go back. Yi Xiaoya looked at Lung Youxiang indifferently, and her tone was a little impatient. She swiped the qualification card and the door opened. Yi Xiaoya went in first. Xiaoqin followed behind. Lung Youxiang also wanted to go in, but in the end Xiaoqin blocked the door and said coldly, "This is our room, I hope you don't go in." You. Lung Youxiang did not think that Yi Xiaoya's junior brother would actually dare to block him, and immediately became angry. Do you know who I am? You are just a small demonic star sect disciple and you dare to block me? Senior sister asked you to go back, Xiaoqin said. Move. Lung Youxiang stretched out his hand, and a huge cold demonic qi enveloped Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin couldn't help but be shocked. A demonic cultivator at the peak of the 8th level of inner strength. Of course, the other party did not use his full strength, he just wanted to teach Xiaoqin a lesson. However, Xiaoqin stood on the spot, not moving at all. Although he did not move, it was very uncomfortable. The cold demonic qi directly flowed from his shoulder to his whole body, causing Xiaoqin to involuntarily shiver. Motherf asterisk her. Previously, Xiaoqin's body had a demonic qi and now there was a demonic qi. Xiaoqin really did not know what to say. However, at this moment Xiaoqin finally understood what Yi Xiaoya said. In this place there were too many people who would fight over a disagreement. This place was different from the secular world. This was the world of martial artists, and the world of martial artists had to follow the rules of martial artists. The power of speech between martial artists was determined by strength. Not bad, huh? Although Lung Youxiang only used half of his strength, he did not expect Xiaoqin to be able to withstand it. He coldly looked at Xiaoqin and said, "Not bad, no wonder your sect valued you and sent you and your senior sister here. However, you better listen to me, you better not have any ideas about Yi Bia. She is my woman, and among the younger generation only I, Lung Youxiang, am worthy of her." Oh, what does this have to do with me? Xiaoqin remembered Lung Youxiang's name and casually pushed him twice. Okay, you can go out, I'm going to close the door. Very good, your strength is not weak but you are very good at pretending. You have obviously been hit by my coldine rage, yet you still pretend that nothing happened. Hehe, I hope you have a good dream tonight. Lung Youxiang did not continue to attack. Since his attack was ineffective, he did not want to make another move. In his opinion, Xiaoqin was just a small fry, and he had punished him enough. This fellow had pretentiously received his coldine rage, so he reckoned that he would have to suffer the pain of coldine entering his body every night. If he could not endure it, he would basically die. In Lung Youxiang's eyes, although Xiao Chen was from the demonic star sect, so what? He was just an ordinary disciple, so the demonic star sect would definitely not do anything to him because of this matter. Leng Youxiang was a genius of the younger generation in the demonic star sect. At such a young age, he already possessed the strength of a demonic cultivator at the peak of the 8th level. This meant that he was destined to become a high-level existence in the demonic star sect in the future. After Leng Youxiang left and Xiao Chen closed the door, Yi Xiaoye hurriedly asked, "Are you all right? What could be wrong with me?" Xiao Chen asked curiously. His Coldine rage is extremely overbearing. When the Coldine devil chi entered your body, did you feel anything strange? Why aren't you frozen into an ice sculpture? Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Chen, who looked as if nothing had happened. Do you want me to freeze into an ice sculpture? Xiao Chen said impatiently. When the Coldine devil chi had first entered Xiao Chen's body, it had indeed caused Xiao Chen to shiver. However, it had only lasted for a moment, so Xiao Chen really did not feel anything strange at the moment. Gosh! Yi Xiaoye was speechless after hearing this. However, when she thought about it, this white fox was somewhat strange. For example, when it was fighting with the demonic cultivator, its body had been invaded by the demonic aura, but it did not have any adverse effects. Thinking of this, Yi Xiaoye calmed down. Otherwise, if he was harmed by Leng Youxiang because of her, Yi Xiaoye would definitely not be able to live with her conscience. Now that the white fox was fine, apart from feeling a little strange, she was also relieved. As long as it was fine, it was fine. Therefore she said, "All right, then let's rest for a while. We will officially attend the summit tonight." Chapter 344. However, Yi Xiaoye was still worried. "Are you sure you're all right?" After all, Xiao Chen had the demonic aura enter his body because of her. Others might not know, but Yi Xiaoye knew very well that the Wrath of the Frostine was known as one of the top 10 divine techniques of the demonic sect. Even if he was lucky enough to not die, it would act up every quarter to midnight. The pain was unbearable, and his internal organs would feel as if they were placed in ice. It was extremely uncomfortable. Under such circumstances, there was no way to resolve the Wrath of the Frostine. There were many types of demonic auras in the demonic sect. Although they looked similar, they were actually very different. Therefore Yi Xiaoye could not do anything about it. At that time Xiao Chen would be in so much pain that he wished he was dead. The only way to resolve it was for Leng Youxiang to resolve it himself, or for someone whose strength was higher than Leng Youxiang's level of martial arts to be able to resolve it slowly. However, Leng Youxiang was a demonic cultivator at the peak of stage 8 inner force. No matter how powerful Xiao Chen was, he was only at the peak of stage 6 inner force. She did not know that he was already at the peak of stage 7 inner force. Xiao Chen was standing up for her. If Xiao Chen really lived in pain every day, then Yi Xiaoye would blame herself to death. "Do you want something to happen to me?" Xiao Chen looked at Yi Xiaoye with a bitter smile. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. "You've asked this many times, but I don't think there's any problem for now. Who is that guy? What big move did he use? Do you know it?" "That's not it. I'm just worried that something will happen to you." Yi Xiaoye said, "Although he belongs to the demonic alliance, we are not from the same sect, so I don't know his moves. However, if you want a martial arts mental cultivation method, I should be able to help you find it. However, if you want to cultivate and resolve it yourself, it's almost harder than ascending to heaven. Demonic cultivators are more focused on physique than martial cultivators. Everyone's physique is different, so the demonic mental cultivation method and martial arts that they can cultivate are different. For example, I am a fire-type demonic cultivator, but Leng Youxiang is an ice-type demonic cultivator. How is his sect compared to your Devil Star sect?" Xiao Chen nodded and asked. The Devil Star sect is considered a relatively small sect in the Devil sect. However, many of the Devil sect's saintesses have been produced in the Devil Star sect. Therefore, although the Devil Star sect is small, once a saintess appears, our Devil Star sect will become famous for a time. Yi Xiaoye said, "But Leng Youxiang's sect is relatively big, he is also the sect's main target of nurturing. This time he came here to gain experience. To have such strength at the age of 30 is indeed not easy." "Oh, so that's how it is." Xiao Chen nodded and suddenly said, "What? 30 years old? He's only at the peak of stage 8 inner force at such an old age? Is he really a target to be nurtured? The best? The peak of the 8th layer. Do you even know what level that is?" Yi Xiaoye's eyes widened. "I know he's just one level higher than me. Wait for me to surpass him in half a month. He actually dared to inject demonic energy into my body. I'll remember him. I'll teach him a lesson in the future. Xiaochen was very vengeful. You are now at stage 7 inner force? Yi Xiaoya was stunned. Wasn't he still at the peak of stage 6 inner force a few days ago? The peak of stage 7 inner force, Xiaochen said. Yi Xiaoya almost broke down after hearing this. She had been in seclusion for so long to reach stage 5 inner force demonic cultivator. Even so, at her age she was already considered an outstanding existence. She was the most promising candidate to become the Devil Sect's saintess. Of course, at this moment she was only a candidate. The Devil Sect still had to go through a series of complicated references and calculations before they could produce the next Devil Sect saintess. Did you eat pills? Yi Xiaoya really couldn't understand. She had been cultivating hard enough, but how did Xiaochen cultivate? She remembered that this guy ran around outside every day, right? He fought old Devil Shishan and accepted a mission. White Fox, why is your leveling up like taking an elevator? Yes, I'm the legendary big idiot, Xiaochen said. What do you mean? Yi Xiaoya was stunned. Didn't you go to the Warrior Guild Forum? There's a group of big idiots on the other side of the mountain and the sea. They're really awesome when they rob buildings. They level up by taking elevators. Xiaochen explained. You still have the mood to joke around. Even if you're at the peak of stage 7, Leng Youxiang is a vengeful person. Although you can't make a move openly, you have to be careful of him harming you. Yi Xiaoya said to Xiaochen. Aren't I considered a disciple of the Devil Star Sect? The Devil Star Sect is so awesome that they even have a saintess. What can he do to us? Xiaochen was a little puzzled. No matter how he looked at it, the Devil Star Sect didn't seem too awesome. The previous generation's saintess was indeed a member of the Devil Star Sect, but some problems occurred after that. I can't tell you the sect's secret. When Yi Xiaoya said this, she couldn't help but sigh slightly. So the Devil Star Sect's status dropped a lot after that. Oh, I see. Xiaochen didn't ask in detail. The grudges of other sects didn't have much to do with him. Then why is Leng Youxiang still pursuing you when you have the chance to become the Devil Star Sect's saintess? I thought the Devil Star Sect's saintess can't get married? Why do they have to maintain their virginity? You've watched too much television, haven't you? Yi Xiaoya rolled her eyes at Xiaochen and said, Who said that? The Devil Star Sect's saintess can get married, but she can only have one husband, the Devil Star Sect's sect master. And Leng Youxiang is one of the people who has the highest chance of becoming the next Devil Star Sect's sect master. However, that's a matter of decades later. It's hard to say if there will be any changes by then. Is that so? Xiaochen didn't expect this guy to be a candidate for the Devil Star Sect's sect master. He said with some regret, but he might not have the chance. What do you mean? Yi Xiaoya was stunned. He met me. Xiaochen said. What do you mean? Yi Xiaoya's cold face turned red as she stared at Xiaochen. Yi Xiaoya's expression also stunned Xiaochen, but he immediately understood what Yi Xiaoya was thinking. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What I mean is that he provoked me so he won't have the chance. When he becomes the sect master he will be killed by me. It's not that he won't have the chance to pursue you, but it's almost the same. He won't have the chance if he dies. Oh. Yi Xiaoya snorted. I don't think you're that shallow. We're just partners. If you have any other thoughts, let's break up as soon as possible. Oh, I have a girlfriend. Xiaochen said. Okay, then let's rest for a while. After saying that, Yi Xiaoya lay on the bed and started cultivating. Xiaochen, on the other hand, was fine. He had no way of cultivating here. Right now, he mainly relied on medicinal herbs and spirit jades for his cultivation. Without these two things, the effects would be minimal. He might as well not waste his energy. After Leng Youxiang returned to his room, he said to a Devil Star Sect disciple who was accompanying him, Junior Brother Qin, help me investigate the background of the little bastard wearing a fox mask beside Yi Bia and what he does in the Devil Star Sect. Yes, Senior Brother Leng. Junior Brother Qin replied and left. But not long after, he appeared in Leng Youxiang's room again. Senior Brother Leng, I've investigated. The Devil Star Sect only sent one disciple this time. It's sister-in-law Yi Bia. There's no one else? Senior Brother, did you make a mistake? Isn't he from the Devil Star Sect? Damn slut, how dare you lie to me? I don't know where you hooked up with that wild man. Leng Youxiang's eyes flashed with malevolence. He had always been an outstanding figure in the sect. The sect's resources were free for him to use, so he had long developed a domineering and arrogant personality. However, even though he was furious, but from what he could see, no matter what the background of that fox-masked man was, he would definitely die at 3:45 p.m. tonight. Very few people could survive the cold devil qi. Moreover, he wasn't afraid that Xiao Chen would do anything to Yi Xiaoye in advance. This was because his cold true qi could cause impotence. Although he was angry that Yi Xiaoye and Xiao Chen were in the same room, he observed that Yi Xiaoye was indeed a virgin, so he didn't say anything more. Now that the person wearing the fox mask had become a cripple, there was nothing he could do. Leng Youxiang snorted coldly. No matter which sect you are from, you will definitely die if you offend me, Leng Youxiang. Leng Youxiang had this confidence. This was because in this summit, he was the only important male junior of the devil sect. The other competitors for the position of sect leader didn't appear, so he could do whatever he wanted. Even if he killed Xiao Chen, it wouldn't matter. Senior brother Leng, should I investigate again? Junior brother Chen asked carefully. There's no need. Let him live a little longer. Leng Youxiang waved his hand indifferently. At 7 p.m., the Righteous and Demonic Songning Summit officially opened. All the disciples of the devil sect gathered in the training field of the Zheng Family Martial Arts Dojo. The challengers of the summit sat at the front, while the audience sat at the back. The entire training field was filled with people. Xiao Chen and Yi Xiaoye found a seat marked with the Devil Star sect's name and sat down. Originally, Xiao Chen wanted to see how Jing Xiaoqun was doing, but there were too many people here, so he couldn't find him in a short time. Although he could release his divine sense to search, it consumed a lot of physical strength and true qi. Xiao Chen couldn't release it endlessly, or he would die of exhaustion. Leng Youxiang brought junior brother Chen into the arena. Their seats weren't too far from Xiao Chen's side. Leng Youxiang deliberately glanced at Xiao Chen with a cold gaze, as if he was looking at a dead person. Xiao Chen was expressionless. His mask didn't have any expression to begin with. In the audience seats, a youth sat. Beside him was a beautiful girl. The beautiful girl's expression was a little cold, but the youth was very satisfied. He enjoyed this feeling very much. Xiao, there are so many aristocratic families in Songning City, but only the Qing family and a few other aristocratic families are qualified to watch this flourishing summit. Qing Mingxiang laughed and said proudly to the beautiful girl beside him. Oh, that's quite impressive. Although Xiao said so, her expression was as cold as usual. If the Qing family is so powerful, why don't they go on stage to participate in the challenge? Why are they still in the audience? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.